Today on America's Day at the Races, it's a winter wonderland from South Ozone Park, New York. Scacciatore ran out of this world at Saratoga this summer. Didn't quite back that up in his return to dirt last start. What version will we get this afternoon? In Hot Springs, Arkansas, it's a field of veterans with strong credentials in Oaklawn's feature. Multiple graded stakes winner Warriors Charge was done no favors with his draw. Can this millionaire overcome an outside post to end a 9-race winless streak? And the Triple Crown Trail picks back up Saturday. Dash Attack impressed in the Southwest, overcoming a poor break to roll home to victory. But Saturday's test gets significantly tougher. That race coming up on the program tomorrow. All that and more ahead. We'll have a preview. Stay with us all afternoon long here on America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, New York Racing Association handicapper with you as we're set to get underway in the late pick 4 coming up. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. It's been a while.
It has.
I know.
About a week.
It's a long time for us. We spent a lot of time together. Looking forward to the action here, action at Oaklawn as well. And as you pointed out, a big weekend coming up. We've got a terrific Southwest tomorrow, the rematch, Nashville back against Hollis in the sprint, and Sunday, the Houston Ladies Classic. I know a race you've been waiting for. I mean, you haven't stopped talking about the Houston Ladies Classic since I can't even remember.
I actually covered that race many, many years ago, so it does hold a special place in my heart. Let's talk today's feature, though. Scacciatore, this horse, where did that race come from when he ran just out of this world at Saratoga? Can he do it again?
Well, you know, I really liked him that day, and I know the figure seems like sort of one of those crazy, exaggerated numbers, but I think he sort of quietly had good dirt form, and I think that his connections, and he did well on the turf, no knock on running there, but I think if you look back on his dirt races, they're better than they looked. You know, that race where he finished second at Saratoga the year before, he set a wicked pace that day. Now, he got clear in here. And I picked him, but here's what concerns me, Greg. He came into this race in outstanding form in general. His turf races, his turf sprints were very, very good. You and I talked about him quite a bit. He now hasn't run in 3 months, so he's not coming into this race with any kind of form, and will he be ready to run? South Africa, a little dangerous. Bronx Bomber is taking a significant drop in company, but he's just a horse that hasn't been able to win since they started rating him.
As usual, being close to the pace, been a pretty good thing today.
It has. I mean, the rail has been very strong today. We have seen the last 2 winners sit in the 2 path and get it done, and the rail hasn't been a big advantage for the other horses. We'll see, but bias has been something that we've been talking about quite a bit for good reason.
All right, we'll get back to New York, and again, the late pick 4 coming up next here from South Ozone Park. Meanwhile, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens, to set the stage for this afternoon.
Not only this afternoon, Greg, but the whole weekend. It's Southwest Eve. Today, a nice, beautiful day out, a little bit windy. Track is fast. Everything's good. The crowd has showed up for tomorrow's big racing. We've got a great feature race today with Warriors Charge. After a tough beat 2 races back, he's trying to rebound off of a tough loss last time out. He faced the likes of Thomas Shelby, who has been very, very good in 2021, continuing on to 2022. He gets beat a short nose in this race here at Keeneland Racecourse. It was a very tough beat. He had some time off to recover from that race. He was flat. He was dull in his last race here at Oaklawn Park. Maybe he needed the time. Brad Cox, he hits it about 30% off of a 45 to 180-day layoff, and that's what this horse is getting today. He's also getting a fast racetrack. He raced in the mud last time, hasn't run his best races on the mud. So he's hoping to rebound this afternoon. We'll see what happens, guys.
Look forward to him. I mean, this is a horse who was in the Met Mile just a couple of years ago. He doesn't seem to be the speed horse, though, that he once was.
That's the problem. He's lost that speed, and when you have a horse and he has speed and they can use that speed to their advantage, they lose it. It's not dissimilar to the horse that we were just talking about here, running in our eighth race towards the outside, Bronx Bomber. Just not the same horse without the speed.
Be interesting to see how he fares. Millionaire for maybe the back-to-back winning Eclipse Award winning barn of Brad Cox. That remains to be seen, but he is the front runner for that award.
I think he looks pretty good for that award. I know you and I don't have a vote, but we would be voting for him.
Here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Remaining races, that late pick 4 in New York. They're fast here in South Ozone Park. And races 4 through 9 out in Hot Springs, they are fast as well. Warriors Charge going to line up near the outside in that 8th race, their feature on the card. You can play it all by getting signed up and started with NYRA Bets. Go to NYRABets.com, download that NYRA Bets app, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime with that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus as well. Punch in that code to take advantage of that offer. Bonus 200 at NYRABets.com. So, the 6th race, 6 furlongs, $8,000 claiming group, and the current favorite here, Joycey Has Pizzazz, just claimed last start.
I like this horse today. I thought that he had kind of had a smart, wise guy horse, was 9-2 on the line, but the public is all over this horse. I won't be betting him at 2-1, and I don't know you're going to get a better price, Greg.
We'll talk plenty more about this field when we come back. Tomorrow's racing in New York has been postponed because of the storm situation. That means the Grade 3 toboggan, we will have to wait until the following week. Well, we can't wait to see this guy back. Happy Medium, one of the emerging sprint stars in the country for Michelle Nevin. We'll be back.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
He seems like he's the type of horse, you know, he likes to try to see what he can get away with and stuff like that, you know. And but he's not really aggressive or anything like that. He don't try to hurt you or nothing. He just likes to interact with you quite a bit, you know, and just play around.
He's a medium-sized horse. He was obviously turf. He's by Dubawi. He's got a huge pedigree. I mean, it's the Jude family and Quarter Moon and Ruby Tuesday, which has been very successful. And Dubawi's turned out to be a pretty good sire of sires in Europe right now. So I'm excited about it. I mean, you know, the foals all look a lot like him. They're kind of brown packages with maybe just a little white on them. There's not a lot of white or a lot of chrome, as they might say, but he's really stamped them.
Very alert. I mean, he's curious, as you can see. He's always wondering what's going on.
He had an immense amount of talent. Unfortunately, he was not shown on the racetrack. He pulled up lame in the Belmont Derby. He was 3 for 3 going into the race. Peter Brandt, very high on this horse. He thought he was one of the most talented horses he's ever had, which that often says a lot too. He's very well supported by Peter and the syndicate. He bred 102 mares his first year. He's by Dubawi, who's arguably one of the best sires in the world. And we think we're in a very good position with him.
Our program each and every day brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. So it will not happen tomorrow because of the snow, but everyone very much looking forward to seeing when Happy Medium does return. It sounds like it's going to be just an additional week later. And Michelle Nevin, JMS, they've been very prudent about bringing this horse along and not forcing him into graded stakes immediately. This will be his stakes debut coming up.
And as anyone that knows Michelle or sees him at all, she's a pretty cool customer. And saw her quotes with Dave Grenick from the Daily Racing Forum. She said if it snows and we have to delay the race, so be it. It's sort of the way it goes. And it's the right attitude to have, especially if you want to race in New York in the winter. And it's been one of those winters where we've had a cancellation pretty much every week. He's good. How good he is remains to be seen. He is too good for his competition. He's burying a horse here who came back with, albeit a bias-aided win, but a giant win with a 104 buyer in his next start. This is a good horse. He's going to have to show that he can run these kind of races, though, against tougher competition. And had tomorrow's race come off, he would have had to rate a little bit behind the very speedy Chateau. But he's got enormous upside. And you think about how long Samantha Siegel has been in this game, and Michelle Nevin, what a terrific trainer she is. Samantha's had good horses before. Michelle has never had the sort of caliber of horse that he could be, and it's hard not to root for them to have a good horse. Someone who supports the game as Sam Siegel does, but also Michelle Nevin, such a good trainer, and I think this could be a very, very, very good horse.
And we'll wait another week, but everybody looking forward to seeing him. 3 consecutive wins by more than 21 lengths combined. And Michelle Nevin says, too, his running style, he's not one-dimensional. He's not a need-the-lead type. So we'll find out if that's true as he gets tougher and tougher tests along the way. 6th at Aqueduct. Again, start of this pick 4. It's still Joycey Has Pizzazz, who we were talking about before we went to break. Favorite on the board. There he is. Eric Cancel will ride. He's been claimed in each of his last 2 starts. Looking for the 6th win of his career.
This is 3 races back, and you had to go 3 races back to find a good effort. But I thought the point about showing this race was this is a horse that's capable of running buyer figures in the 80s, and this was an 80 here, a number that would make him very tough to beat. He's supposed to get some pace to run at. The problem that I have is, A, his price. He's been claimed by Mike Maselli, and I really respect Mike Maselli. We've talked about him quite a bit in the show, and I think he's probably a higher percentage trainer than his recent trainers that have had this horse. He's got the back form to go at. I thought maybe I was being a little clever picking him. Apparently I wasn't, because everybody else seems to have seen the same things that I saw. So at a short price, and the other problem is, Greg, when you have a racetrack that's been as heavily biased as it's been, it's tough to take short prices on horses that you're not fully confident are going to be riding the rail the whole way. And this is not a horse that has a ton of speed. But Eric Cancel, his rider, has been very alert to the racetrack over the last couple of weeks.
Well, a horse that should be forward and should be able to get over, and someone who you know has been acutely aware of taking advantage how racetracks playing. Dylan Davis on Fleet Warrior. This horse coming in from Finger Lakes has been off since August.
I mean, the layoff has to be a bit of a concern, but I agree with you, Greg. This is a horse that, I mean, on paper, he is absolutely the speed of the speed, and he is a very dangerous horse because of it, and it's 6-1. I'm not going to argue with somebody that says, I don't know if Fleet Warrior is good enough. He's coming off a layoff, but I'm confident he could clear the field and get the lead. So at 6-1, I don't mind betting a few dollars, And at that point, I'd have to use him. On a fair racetrack, I take my chances against him.
8 times in 28 starts, first or second. You see those snowflakes falling down continually this afternoon. He does have, horses who want to be in front on either side of him. The 7th, 9th Hour, the 9 Bourbon Mission. But you think he's the quick of the quick?
He is the fastest, but he has to break and he has to get the right trip. But he is faster than Mitre Porciento is the dangerous horse. But how does he work out a trip? He's dropping substantially, and some will look at his last race 6 days ago and say it was a bad effort. He was wide against the good rail that day, so I had an excuse. But Greg, from post number 9 with the scratches, he might be wide again.
Riders getting a leg up here in a moment. Jackie Davis will hop aboard High Command. Just 3 minutes to post from this pick 4 coming up. And I'm with you. That 11 looks very dangerous with the drop down. Of course, our feature later that we talked about, Scacciatore, who you certainly would want to use, you would think, if you're playing this pick 4. And then the nightcap How wide open did you feel that was?
I like the 11, but on this racetrack, I keep, landing on horses on outside posts is problematic. I thought Kuzmin was a little bit interesting, but I thought the inside two, Silver Samurai and Mango Beach, two horses that potentially could be the inside speed. They have to be considered dangerous.
And both those two dropping in class. Here comes our post parade, and here is High Command at 23-1.
Yeah, High Command has some efforts that are sort of fringe, and Jackie Davis rides well, and she'll hug the rail. Maybe gets a piece if you're betting supers.
Tale of Mist, a 9-year-old making his 69th career start.
He's been very consistent at not liking to finish first.
Our boy Bodie has some speed.
But he's just too slow based on his races to be a factor here, and he does appear to be better on the turf.
And quicker as well. Joyce has pizzazz, Mike Maselli claim.
Yeah, I mean, we've listed the reason we like him. 5-2 doesn't do a lot for me, but I think he's very dangerous.
Turn back in distance for the 6.
Yeah, I like a turn back, but on a track that's favoring inside speed, it's not a great way to go.
5-1, 9th hour makes a nice appearance.
He's not impossible, and he could be a bit forward, switching over the Nota Barn for the first time in a while.
Comes in from Penn National. Fleet Warrior, we talked about, here he is with Dylan Davis.
Yeah, I mean, if he clears and gets in front, he could go wire to wire for sure.
Bourbon Mission, Rudy Rodriguez, and the young apprentice who won again earlier today.
I think in these races you do want horses that are dropping because of the bottom level. It's a big drop to the bottom. The problem I have with him is last time out, he was the controlling speed in a day when speed was dominating, and he still fell apart.
And that price has come way down now on Mitres Porciento, the favorite now.
Yeah, you and I have liked what we've seen from this 10-pound bug rider, Elsa Morrison. She really has potential. But I don't care if it's Elsa Morrison or an experienced veteran. Getting over to an inside trip from that post, not easy.
And cause of action on the outside.
Yeah, I thought tough post and a tough horse to make off the claim.
Post time coming up. Let's check in for the first time this afternoon with Maggie Wolfendale.
Taking a look at horses in the paddock and out on the racetrack as the snow was falling. And I got to say, if every day of the winter was like this, I'd be happy because snow, no wind, not that cold. This is what winter's about. I like it out here today as we'll take a look at Joyce Has Pizzazz. Mike Maselli does typically do well with horses that he takes in these lower level claimers. He just seems to kind of breathe new life into them at times. And I can see that with Joyce Has Pizzazz physically and mentally. A horse that's really settled and focused today that sometimes is not that way. Coat looks better than I've seen it. Weight better than I've seen it. This horse just looks better. So that's why I landed on him as well. And just given Mike's track record with these types of horses, I think he should have a big say in the outcome of this race. Now, number 7, 9th hour, just one that kind of my attention kept going back to. His last race at Penn National wasn't very good. I mean, he broke alertly, then he took pressure from the outside and really threw in the towel around the 3/8 pole. He is sharp today. He is the sharpest horse in the preliminaries. Jolon Samuel took him away from the pony immediately, galloped him over to the backside, and he is sitting on go. He looks good from the condition standpoint, really just well muscled and chiseled throughout his frame. So I like what I'm seeing. It's just he feels like a horse that is best when he can control up front. And it just feels like the next horse I'm going to talk about is fastest in number 8, Fleet Warrior, though he's not acting like the sharpest horse in this field. Fleet Warrior very, very subdued today, very quiet, coming off the layoff. Just looks as though he needs one to strengthen up. He gave me the impression I need to take the wait and see approach, as we'll also check in with your current favorite. That is Mitre Porciento coming back off the short layoff. Linda Rice has done well with this type of move in the past. And it's typical because she's very liberal, I think, with the feed scoop. Her horses tend to carry their weight, their conditioning very well. And so therefore you have a lot of left in the tank for a horse to run back off a short rest. My thing with him, though, is he just gives me an impression in the preliminaries that he just doesn't seem to really want to do it anymore. He's just very quiet, very just lackluster in his overall disposition. So we'll see, though. Maybe the best hop is the drop here, as he does get some class relief, guys.
All right, Maggie, thanks. He's looking for the 6th win of his career, the 8 Fleet Warrior at 5-1. Can Dylan Davis get a little separation here early on? Favorite, though, remains after He was about 9-2 for a while. He's the 5-2 choice now. Mitre Sporciento, Linda Rice, and the 10-pound apprentice Ailsa Morrison.
He was a horse that last winter here when we were covering the races, it wouldn't matter if he was 7 wide and a gold rail against a field like this, he would bury them. I mean, this horse was running buyers in the 90s. Those are close to stakes quality. He's gone the wrong way, but it's dropped to the bottom. And the reason when I talk about the drop to the lowest level, if you're running in a race, the bottom level is 8,000 in the winter for 12,000, our second lowest level. The horses are basically worth 12,000, 16,000. You run them for 8,000, you might be running against horses that are worth $0, $1, $1,000. So that lowest level, that drop to the lowest level at any racetrack is always the biggest drop for a claiming horse.
And this one, the 11 from 16 down to 8, 2-1 favorite now. Price gets even lower as we get set for the start of our pick 4. There's Joycey Has Pizzazz stepping in, second choice at 3-1. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call to kick off the sequence.
There in the gate. We're set for race 6. And the rough. 9th Hour hustled out of there along with a Fleet Warrior, and on the outside is Bourbon Mission. It is Fleet Warrior and Bourbon Mission, and those two hook up early here. 9th Hour is now back running in third in between horses. Joycey Has Pizzazz, Mitre Sporciento's on the extreme outside. Down at the rail is High Command, who is racing in 6th. And then it is Tale of Mist on the outside in 7th, followed next by Our Boy Bodie in 8th. Farther back it is Cause of Action, who is racing in 9th, and the trailer is Marble Moon in 10th. It's a 4-way battle up front after a quarter in 23 seconds. Mitre Sporciento has swept to the lead on the far outside. Joycey Has Pizzazz runs in second. Fleet Warrior down at the rail is next in third. As the field comes into the stretch here, it is Mitre Sporciento with the lead. Tale of Mist picks up the chase now on the outside. Here comes Tale of Mist, the challenge. Mitre Sporciento. Tale of Mist has taken over the lead. It is Tale of Mist in front, looking to pull off an upset here. Tale of Mist, Samuel Camacho Jr. at 12-1.
Tale of Mist from off the pace. Sam Camacho Jr. on this 9-year-old at 12-1.
And you could say that he sort of took advantage of a bit of a collapse, except I don't see this race as totally collapsing, And I know that the number 11 had a 4-wide trip, but Sam Camacho was out in the middle of the track with this horse fairly early. I mean, he didn't break that well. When you have deep closers, not breaking that well isn't that big a deal because they're sort of going to be back there anyway. But to be honest with you, even at that break, he actually was kind of closer than he normally is. He's not a horse I would ever have picked. He's not a horse I ever would have bet on. But he got the money today. Big win for him, and nice to see Sam Camacho get the job done.
Double-digit number here, 12-1, 3-11, 2-5. Got helped a little bit, too, with a little speed duel up front.
Well, that's something also happens when you get tracks that are, speedy, and the inside is you're going to see far more aggressive riding. But I don't feel like, Greg, this race just totally fell apart, They were well clear of the other horses. I'm going to just say that Tale of Mist ran today.
And outran the favorite, too.
Yeah, I mean, he ran. How often with Tale of Mist do you see him sitting where he was in the turn? And normally he's a horse that's just sort of sucking up for pieces late in a race, second or third, and sort of taking advantage of circumstance. In this race, he got himself right in the race after braking slowly. This was a legitimate win by him. Did Mitre Sporciento run a winning race, per se? He did. But the 3 just beat him fair and square.
Yeah, 33-1 shot in third as well. It's going to be a nice trifecta. We'll head to Hot Springs, Arkansas. When we come back, we have the 4th ahead maiden claiming route race when we return. Stay with us.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's going to win his first race, and he's going to do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
We 800,000, 75, 800, 75, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Honor AP, a mesmerizing horse from the very beginning, who captured the imagination of the racing world and proved his potential on the track. A Grade 1 winner, out of a multiple Grade 1 winner, with incomparable looks and an unbeatable pedigree. The speed, the bloodline, the physical. Honor AP, new for 2021, only at Lane's End.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Back on America's Day at the Races, we're going to head to Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Their fourth race is up next. Mile and a 16th, $20,000 maiden claiming event. Fillies and mares 3 and up will contest this fourth race ahead. And we have 3 on the board between 2 to 1 or 5 to 2.
Well, I like one that's 5 to 2. I was hoping to get a better price, but I am a big fan of the chances of Ipsum Gratis in this race, the number 2, who exits a race at Churchill that has proven to be extremely strong. I'm looking forward to betting him. I was hoping to get a slightly better price, though.
Together again, they made headlines this summer. Rob Atras, Ricardo Santana Jr., they'll team up here with Alita, the current favorite for more. Let's go to our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, I mean, looking at this board and looking at these horses in the post parade, this is a wide open event. You mentioned 3 horses at 5 to 2 or less. And this Alitas, she's a 5-year-old mare, raced maiden special weight 4 times. I think she's being overbet, to be honest with you, at 2 to 1 here. I think there's a lot better options. So I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of this race, but I do not necessarily like the 6-horse Alitas, guys.
Andy Serling would agree with you. And let's go back to Ipsum Gratis.
Yeah, I mean, Ipsum Gratis, his first 2 races were not, for her first 2 races weren't very good. But she really improved off the claim for Thomas Van Berg last time out. And you look at that race, I mean, one horse after another came back with a significantly improved figure. The 8th horse won and improved his Beyer 24 points. The 4th horse improved 17 points. It's in their next race. The 6th horse, 24 points. I mean, the winner came back to win and improved his race 9 points. And that comes back to me as sort of one of these hidden key races. It's not so much that a lot of horses were winning out of it, but most horses that came back in their next start ran a much higher Beyer figure, which doesn't suggest the figure was wrong. It just makes a better race than it looked. And I agree with Gary, Alita. I mean, we've seen this horse in New York. This horse is running against extremely weak fields for Rob Atras last time and was in Mike Maker's barn. Autostrada, the 5, was also getting bet. This was a private purchase from Peter Brandt and Chad Brown, who was basically meant for the turf and just isn't very good. And with all due respect to the current trainer, this was a horse that was trained by Chad Brown. Now, the horse that's getting no money on the board, that's a little surprising, is Simply Beguiled. Shouldn't this horse be taking a little bit more money, making a trainer change to John Ortiz? And I think it's important to point out they're using the claiming waiver. They could offer this horse for a tag, and like Ipsum Gratis, they're not.
You know, ran a credible effort at Keeneland at a mile and a 16th for this 20 maiden claiming condition. I'll go back to Alita for a moment and play devil's advocate.
Okay.
You look at the last time that she's a 5-year-old mare. That is not a good thing when you're trying to break your maiden to be that age. She ran a straight maiden race at Indiana, so she's getting back to going long. And the filly who won that race, Little King's Princess, actually came back and won a $100,000 allowance race at Oaklawn 2 starts later.
Oh, You're right about that race. Her race 2 back makes her very dangerous. Maybe I'm over-judging her based on her last race, and you do make a valid point that that race was going long, and she did run well. I can't argue with that, Greg. Her race 2 back was good. So that's more than fair.
5-2 on her with Ricardo Santana Jr., but it's Ipsum Gratis. You killed your price. She's the favorite now.
She was a big favorite looking at the double, so I'm not surprised she's a short price.
See if she can get it done here. David Cabrera aboard from post 2. Vic Stauffer with the call. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn.
Here's Baja Fog and Smokin' Bossa Nova. Last to load, Autostrada. They're off. Alita broke well, so did My Coralina and Baja Fog. Those 3 are quick, as is Autostrada. Those 4 across the track. Ipsum Gratis just in behind the leaders, then Simply Beguiled and Briar Thicket, and the early trailer is Smokin' Bossa Nova. It's My Coralina quicker than Baja Fog to the backstretch. My Coralina, 3/4 of a length. Baja Fog is second, the same margin to a 3-wide Autostrada. Ipsum Gratis secures a good striking position, 4th at the rail and 2.5 from the front, with Alita just outside of her. Then it's 3.5 back to Briar Thicket, another 2.5 back to Simply Beguiled, and 6 lengths last to Smokin' Bossa Nova as they run up the backstretch with My Coralina in charge. My Coralina, a 2.5 length lead over Baja Fog. Here's Ipsum Gratis to move through at the rail, and Ipsum Gratis takes second. She's 3 behind. Then Autostrada, another 3.5 back to Alita. Simply Beguiled behind her, and Briar Thicket at the rail. Smokin' Bossa Nova has trailed throughout, and My Coralina has led throughout. It's My Coralina midway on the far turn. Ipsum Gratis is second, now only 1.25 lengths behind from Baja Fog, and here's Ipsum Gratis within a 1/2 length of the lead, and she's on the move. New leader at the top of the stretch. Ipsum Gratis takes it over, and now 1 length in front. My Coralina is second, 2 back to Baja Fog. Simply Beguiled between horses and Autostrada. Ipsum Gratis final furlong with a 3-length lead. My Coralina is still in second, then Baja Fog, Autostrada, and Simply Beguiled, but it's Ipsum Gratis now clear a 16th out, and it's a 4.5 length lead over My Coralina, who's running her heart out trying to save second. Ipsum Gratis well in front. Ipsum Gratis won by 7. Very, very close for second between My Coralina and Autostrada. Baja Fog finished 4th.
Ipsum Gratis, nice call, Andy. Big effort here. She was way too good for this group.
She was. I mean, she got a perfect trip. It's nice when you break from an inside post position and 3 or 4 horses go to the lead and you sit tucked behind them. At that point, you know it's unlikely you're going to lose if you're the best horse. And Cabrera just sat chilly, moved out top of the stretch, and proved much the best. And you know, it's one of the great things about Daily Racing Form's Formulator, which I know that you use. You know, it takes about a minute to look up every horse that comes out of a race, and looking up this horse's last race, it just sort of jumped off the page at me that this horse was coming out of a race that was much stronger than the 63 Beyer suggests, and the 63 Beyer was good enough to win.
And might have been inside if it was My Coralina for second. That's 12-1. Autostrada was 4-1. So we'll see what that exacta comes back. Meanwhile, back in New York, Tale of Mist. Sam Camacho Jr. from off the pace, overcoming that poor beginning.
Yeah, I mean, didn't break that sharply. And what I was most impressed by in this performance, that unlike so many races that this horse has run during his life, and he's been around a long, long time. He started, I think, with Barclay Tagg. He got himself into the race, you know, and maybe Sammy Camacho's done a good job with that, and I give him credit as well. But I'll tell you something else. Watching the last couple of races here, the early races, it looked like a gigantic inside bias, the long shot wiring. If you look at this last race, it's hard not to say the track looks very fair.
Yeah, no question. 12-1 here, $27.80 for the victory. 311.2. Trifecta for 50 cents, $413. Race 7. 1 turn mile, $32,000 claiming race. This is a difficult race. The board reflects that. We'll have much more on it when we come back from a short timeout. The apprentice, Jose Gomez, he's making a name for himself, turning heads. Kelly Breen suggested Angel Cordero mentor him. The Hall of Famer, his advice has been paying off. He had a $36 winner earlier today. We'll see if he can rack up another one coming up in the 7th.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you where you can play all the action. NYRA Bets. Go to NYRABets.com or download that NYRA Bets app to get started. 7th race here in New York. One-turn mile, $32,000 claiming race. And as we mentioned earlier, wide open. Favorites by a slim margin right now. It's the 9. Just Right, who comes in off a win. And this horse stretching out in distance, has speed. And that makes him dangerous. But there's Crypto Cash, who was just claimed by Rob Atras.
Yeah, Crypto Cash actually ran okay last time. He was compromised by a bit of a bias in that race. He had to try to close into it, and he's dangerous in here. He's very logical. Rob Atras's numbers, when he claims horses and moves them up, are pretty strong. And this horse was claimed for 16, moves right up to 32,000. I see that as a real positive for this horse.
Let's take a look at his most recent effort. It was back on January 2nd, and this was for 16. So, yeah, Rob Atras claims, and he will move up. Tackling tougher, he wound up 2nd here in the mud.
And I think some people may remember watching the races. This was the 2nd of January, is our first weekend back from the break, and Speed was almost unbeatable that weekend. And he did a good job to finish 2nd to Fast Break, was able to wire the field. So on a track that's gotten a little fairer, he seems very logical to claim by Rob Atras. I prefer the 4 Dark Storm. Similar situation, a horse that tried to close into a horse that was able to control. And I can't stay away from the 7 American Rule in here. I mean, anybody that's been paying attention, these horses trained by William Morey are just running through off the screen. And he claims a sort of a terrible performance, but he doesn't drop them. He's dangerous.
Ran at this level last start. He'll need better. But, yeah, that barn firing on all cylinders. Yep. Let's go back downstairs to Maggie.
We'll actually take a look at that horse here in the paddock. That is American Rule for Bill Morey. Blinkers coming off, which I find very interesting for this horse because for his previous connections, he was wearing an extension blinker covering that right outside eye. And as I always say, I'm not the biggest fan of an extension blinker. I've seen a handful of horses respond favorably to it, and while he did win out of town with it on up at Finger Lakes for Jeremiah Englehart, it's just often a Band-Aid that really doesn't correct things. Now, he is a horse that consistently throughout his career always makes a favorable impression in the paddock. I mean, he's always well turned out. His coat looks great, his conditioning very good. Now, Bill does opt to put a Halton bit on him, which is one of those bits that provide the jock a bit more leverage for a horse that wants to lug in or lug out in his case. So I'm wondering too, with the blinkers coming off, a horse that has shown the ability to be closer than what some of his recent forms suggest, as we do see Bill giving him a nice stretch. I like that. So I think with the blinkers coming off, he could show just that much more speed coming out of the gate. Not that he's going to be on the front end, but just break a little bit more alertly with that coming off. So American Rule is very, very interesting in my book. As number 9, Just Right, Antonio Arriaga will opt to stretch this horse out off the win, second off the claim. He's always one that I've always felt could go either way as far as which distance is more preferable for him. He's fine here at a 1-turn mile. Don't mind him with a little less ground. Always one that really carries his weight well. And sometimes a horse that just doesn't look all that comfortable behind. And today he's actually walking fairly well for him. Now, granted, I haven't seen him in recent months in his recent performances. I'm talking more over the late summer, early fall. So he's a bit interesting, but as a favorite, I'd be looking somewhere else, Greg.
Taking a lot of money, and we know how dangerous speed has been, but maybe starting to change a little bit after what we saw in the last race. Here's Dark Storm. You like this horse, 6-year-old son of Flatter, who is 9-2 on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I also like the fact that he was claimed for $25,000. They're moving him up. Blewett was able to take advantage of a couple of very strong biases to get easy wins walking along on the front end. And, I mean, that weekend we just didn't see horses making wide moves like he did and picking up the pieces. I thought he ran very well considering the racetrack in the context of the race. And hopefully this track will be a little bit more fair, and I think he's sort of logical in here. And, geez, if he's 9-2 or so, I'm happy to bet him.
You know, he ran for 32, couple starts back. Mexican Wonder Boy won that race. Hammer and Hammer has come out of that race. He's going to tackle a lot tougher company off a monster win.
No, he's been very, very good. I agree, and he has met some tough fields. Now, this is a contentious field as well, and you do have to worry a little bit. He hasn't won racing. He's got that one win over the last couple of years, but in fairness, he has been up against it in a lot of circumstances. Hopefully he gets a more fair situation today, and if indeed this track has gotten fairer, he can definitely win.
One of the toughest races to handicap on this card this afternoon. Meanwhile, Price is back at Oaklawn. Ipsum Gratis winds up returning $5 for the victory, and it was the 5 out-dueling the 1 for that exacta. So 2-5-1 finish.
Yeah, tough beat if you had the 1. It was battling back. My suggestion is follow Simply Beguiled, the 8, and look for a rider change because, with all due respect, this horse needs a stronger veteran rider, and he probably would have been second in that race had he had one.
Gonna get to our post parade here coming up shortly. 9-2 still on this son of Flatter, who another one here who's been pretty popular in the claim box. George Weaver's taken him on a couple of occasions over the past few months. Rudy Rodriguez and now Jeffrey Englehart last time out.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for a while. I feel like he may have originally started with George Weaver. I'm not sure of that. Maybe, that may have been the first time he was claimed, when he was claimed from George, actually. Now that I think about it, though, I'm not certain of that. I feel like if the track has gotten fair, today is his day to get it done. But there's a lot going on in here, as you said. American Rule with the William Morey claim has to be respected. The problem I have with That's Just Right, who I think can win, I think this is a tougher field, even though it's the same claiming level. That was a race where the favorite completely fell apart. And the other thing is, you missed the wedding with him at $21 last time. Do you want to take half that price in a tougher field? But he could clear and be the controlling speed.
Meanwhile, Lost in Rome. This is a horse who is taking probably the biggest drop of anybody in this field. And he is double-digit numbers right now. He's 11-1.
Yeah, the problem with Lost in Rome is he's lost that speed that he once had. And his speed was really his weapon, his advantage. And since he's lost that speed, he's really lost his best game. And his last race, tougher field or not, was really bad. Now, he is getting back to a fast track, which some people might think might help him. But to me, he's not necessarily a bad horse in a wet track, but maybe getting back to a dry track will help.
Some back class, which he's running against Allowance Optional 80 not that long ago, back in the summer. Ran a 94 Beyer to win April last year. I know it's a while ago, but he has some races that would blitz this group. Probably not that same horse, but tackling a lot easier company to try and get a chance to get the 5th win of his career coming up, and that's who will be aboard.
Yeah, it's interesting.
10-1.
You know what I started to notice this week, Greg, is that Trevor McCarthy's horses are starting to take extra money because of Trevor. And that's always, a high compliment to a rider. When your money, when your horses start taking money simply because you're riding. And I've started to notice that a little bit this week with Trevor, and it's not surprising. He just been riding this racetrack extraordinarily well.
Well, he'll be on Vintage Hollywood in this race coming up. We got earlier, that was Jose Baez, who will ride Lost in Rome. But when you win, what was it, 11 of 16 races at one point, Trevor McCarthy finally, the public starts to wake up and take notice.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't do it by mistake. I mean, yes, he's had good mounts, but he's making the most of them, and that's all you can ask from a rider.
During that streak, too, he had a 21-1 shot win. He had a 6-1 shot, a 7-1 shot. It wasn't all, I think only, I want to say, 3 favorites during that streak.
Me. Well, I mean, his agent is a Migliori, so how good can his agent be?
Joe doing a terrific job.
He is. His first job as an agent and doing very well, I agree.
Supremore at 9-2 with Eric Cancel.
This horse actually ran extremely well last time, overcoming a very slow pace, but it was against a much weaker field.
Kendrick Carmouche on Crypto Cash.
I think he's a logical horse. I like when a trainer like Rob Atras claims a horse and moves him up. I think it's a good sign.
Troubling Moon, we skip over and go to the 4.
Yeah, Troubling Moon, more of a turf horse, Dark Storm. I like, and if he stays around 4-1, I'm going to bet him.
Anything possible, even this horse winning?
Well, it is the racetrack. Anything is possible, but it would be quite an upset.
Ran good in the slop, 2 back to get a win.
Up the rail, yep.
32-1. Lost in Rome, 11-1. Big
Joe
class
Parker.
drop.
Look for this horse to be somewhat aggressively ridden and be forwardly placed. I think they'll at least try to get closer.
Jose Baez again will ride. We skip to the 8. Here's Vintage Hollywood, Orlando Noda.
I don't think this horse is impossible, Greg. I mean, last time out, he was just in a tough spot where the speed held up, but his race 2 back, I thought pretty good.
He's beat Supreme Aura, who's 5-1 on the board. Here's Just Right, Speedster stretching out.
Yeah, we'll see if he can clear. If he clears, he could be dangerous.
Here's 26-1 shot outside, American Lincoln.
He actually ran okay last time out, and he is a horse that on occasion runs a big race, just not very often.
This barn just claimed this horse, and as you mentioned, the barn's 50% at the meet.
He claimed the horse off a horrendous performance at Laurel. Then the horse comes up here, and he claims the horse for $32,000. He's virtually eased, and he doesn't drop him. For a trainer whose horses are running through walls up here, I think you leave this horse out at your own peril at the very least.
And there's Troubling Moon, 13-1. Chris Engelhardt, Jose Lezcano.
He's got some okay races. I mean, his best, fastest races are on the dirt. His best recent races are on the turf. I just thought this might be too competitive a field for him, but he's not without a chance.
Minute to post. Coming up, favorite, public right now, settling on the 2, Crypto Cash. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Take a look at a horse who got a favorable warm-up, who is coming in off a somewhat short rest, and about a 2-week rest, is number 8, Vintage Hollywood, and Trevor McCarthy aboard, just nice gallop, nice steady gallop, very even the way he was hitting the ground. And a horse that does usually show up looking his best, but I really like the way he's moving today. And as Andy said, you could come up with some excuses for his last 2 efforts, and maybe this is just the right spot for him. Like I said, you can see it out there how well he's moving, but I just can't get up. Now, granted, it's due to attrition, it's hard for a trainer to maintain a win percentage that Bill Morey is maintaining right now. So I know I always get a little bit nervous taking a horse that the barn seems to unable to lose. But I just think that blinker coming off is a positive. As Andy said, this horse staying in the same condition is a positive. He looks great. I'll take him at 6-1, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. I mean, this is a puzzler, this race. This already is going to be a tremendous pick 6 and pick 5.
Yeah, I mean, I really think there's a chance. Yesterday, the pick 6 was hit by one person. I think there's a real chance we'd be looking at a double carryover into Sunday's card at this point. It's hard to see it getting hit today. And this is a very contentious race, and the favorite's 3-1. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said earlier that this is probably the most sort of one of the more wide open races, if not the most wide open race. So the last race, especially if you feel like the racetrack is fair, the last race is big field and wide open.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
And the 8th isn't particularly easy if Scacciatore doesn't show up from what we saw this summer.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I like Scacciatore, but I'm not like overwhelmed with him. And I worry a little about the layoff because he was in superior form up in Saratoga, and you don't know if he's going to come back, and it's not a bad field.
First things first, this 7th here in New York, 1-turn mile, Supreme Aura waiting to move in with Eric Cancel. Can Just Right. We know this rider, Heman Harkey, he's going to put this horse in position to try and wire the field, the 9.
I like what we've seen from Heman Harkey. He's aggressive, and he really has been making the most of the mounts that he has.
So has the young apprentice, Jose Gomez. He's on the 7 American rule for a barn with limited starters at the meet, but winning at a 50% rate for Bill Morey. That's 7-horse, 7-1. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
For Anything Possible and American Lincoln. In the gate, set for race 7. And they're off. Just Right, along with Vintage Hollywood, far outside American Lincoln. American Rule is up close. Now Troubling Moon comes on through. Down at the rail is Crypto Cash, who is racing in 6th. Then it's Lost in Rome next in 7th, followed by Anything Possible, Dark Storm, and the trailer is Supreme Aura in 10th as the field moves up the backstretch. And the leader is American Lincoln in front here by a length after a quarter in 24 seconds. American Rule is now moving up in between horses. So it's American Lincoln and American Rule. They're 1-2. Lost in Rome is on the outside next in 3rd. Troubling Moon down at the rail runs in 4th. Just Right is in 5th, but just 2.5 lengths from the lead. Then comes Crypto Cash, who is running in 6th, followed by Vintage Hollywood on the outside in 7th. Supreme Aura has moved up a couple of spots down at the rail. Then it's Dark Storm. Anything Possible trails the field in 10th. Now American Rule takes over from American Lincoln. American Rule is the leader by a length. Lost in Rome on the outside in 2nd. American Lincoln dropping back. Then comes Just Right, followed by Crypto Cash, who will be widest of all as they come into the stretch. Down at the rail is a Troubling Moon, and then Supreme Aura. American Rule spurts clear here to lead by almost 4 lengths. Supreme Aura continues to gain down towards the rail. Just Right moves up on the outside along with Crypto Cash. They're closing in here on American Rule. Here comes Supreme Aura. Supreme Aura and American Rule, and on the outside, Just Right. It is going to be Supreme Aura by a head over Just Right. And then American Rule and Crypto Cash.
Wow, did that race change mid-stretch. American Rule looked like he was home free, and then all of a sudden Supreme Aura kicked into gear.
I mean, you were counting your money with American Rule. I said to you, where are some of the horses I used for 2nd to at least get 2nd, like Crypto Cash or Dark Storm or Vintage Hollywood? And suddenly he hit the wall with about 100 or 70 yards to go. And Supreme Moore and Eric Cancel coming through and getting the job done. And I got to say, Eric, Greg, you know, the racing is just so much more interesting when the track is playing fairly, because all the horses have a chance to get it done. And it really felt like American Rule was home free, but Eric rode very, very well, and he was patient, and he got it done with this horse, moving up in class for George Weaver.
Yeah, the step up from 16 to 32 and the 7th win of this 7-year-old's career. That's a tough beat for anyone who had American Rule.
You bet the 7, you're shaking your head. I mean, he was home, to be fair, and we are fans of Jose Gomez, and I think we both agree that he's a rider who could have a real future. Maybe in this case he was a little over-aggressive, but Greg, the way the track has been playing, how can you blame a guy?
Yeah.
The reality of him is he has been getting paid because he's been doing well because he's been a little bit over-aggressive. So when it doesn't work for him, you can't criticize him. It just didn't work in this particular case.
There's Supreme Moore rolling right on by, and in the end, Just Right gets by for second.
5-1 in this horse?
As well, yeah, 197 finish. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, the coach, D. Wayne Lukas, trying to get to that first Friday in May in the Kentucky Oaks. He's going to send out Secret Oath in the Martha Washington this weekend. We'll have a preview next.
Precocity.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run.
Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner.
It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run.
It's improbable to win the Whitney.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Style 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
They're in the final furlong, and Take Charge Brandy is in complete command. Sarah Sis switches to the inside to take another run at her, and she's coming very gamely too. Take Charge Brandy, Sarah Sis making it interesting, but Take Charge Brandy prevails.
It was a 2015 edition of the Martha Washington with Take Charge Brandy.
Take Charge Brandy, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at a huge number at Santa Anita, came back and justified it. I believe she was the 2-year-old champion. Did she come back and win the Starlet maybe in her next start? Won the 2-year-old the Eclipse, I believe.
This year's edition, D. Wayne Lukas, we mentioned, will send out Secret Oath, 3-year-old filly by Arrogate. She'll have the outside post, and she produced the best effort of her career. After a disappointing effort in her graded stakes debut, the Goldenrod, she came back and just ran huge at Oaklawn.
I don't think you were here when she won last time. I think you were still
not.
out of town. But I was here with Lafitte. And, Greg, this was jaw-dropping. I mean, you know, a lot of times you have that sort of the eye test thing, right? And it turns out, well, is it a bad field? The horse had run. This horse had run 58, 62, and 64 Beyer figures, ran a 93 here. And I'm going to tell you something. If this is the horse she's become and she can run those kind of numbers, she might right now be the biggest challenger to Echo Zulu out there. I am extremely curious to see if this filly can run back to that race, because that was just jaw-dropping. I mean, she just crushed the field. It was her first start with Lasix. Now, she can't use Lasix in this race as a stake and a prep race, the Breeders' Cup, another Breeders' Cup with the Kentucky Oaks. I think that's a very, very important question, right?
Kentucky, oh, no question yet. Kentucky Oaks points on the line here, then the Honeybee. That'll get you in with a win, as will the Fantasy, of course, with 100 points to the winner. So that is the road to that first Friday in May. That Kentucky Oaks this year, May the 6th.
Yes, it's late this year, right? The Derby was as early as it could be. The Oaks was actually in April last year.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see what Secret Oath does, because I would love to see her duplicate that performance without Lasix, because Wayne Lucas will be back on the scene, and
just be good for racing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we love Echo Zulu, and she's obviously been terrific. She's got to come back and show what she can do, but there's just no challenge to her out there.
Meanwhile, this fifth race, this kicks off the late pick 5. 6 furlong sprint to start it. Arkansas bred runners in a $16,000 condition claiming race. And it's the 11 favored right now. The condition here, 3-year-olds and up who have never won 3 or who have not won a race since August the 28th of last year.
It feels like a pretty quick pace scenario, but I think Francisco Arrieta has to just let this one go. And it's a pretty substantial rider change to get Arrieta from a very low percentage rider. And I have a feeling that has a lot to do with the source of short price. I don't disagree. I think he's very, very dangerous. I was not clever in here. I thought the 11, 4, and 12 were the horses. I'm not really sure why the 5 is taking so much money, but I guess that's probably Joel Rosario money.
And teaming up with Asmussen.
Yeah. If this horse wasn't Joel and Steve Asmussen, what price would he be? I mean, he won a non-winners of 2 lifetime $10,000 conditional claimer. Okay, then he moved up and he ran a sloppy track. It was 8-1. This is a much tougher field than what he's running in. I think the world of Joel Rosario as a rider. This is not jockey racing; it's horse racing, and I think this horse is overbet. But then I say that, and I said to you that one of the reasons the 11 is a short price is the rider change there in the positive direction.
And meanwhile, the 4 appears to be at least a bit of an overlay, 9-2 on a horse who is getting a lot easier here.
I agree. He's actually the value on the board right now. Now, we do see the odds drop down there sometimes late, as we saw in the last race. So let's take a little gander, but I agree with you. He is an overlay at 9-2 right now.
Gander, great New York bred.
He was. White horse.
Heritage Park, the 11. That's so not favored anymore. It's actually the Rosario Asmussen runner, but Heritage Park, the 11. I mean, this horse was just in sensational form at Prairie Meadows and here at Oaklawn. I mean, 2 of those, he had won 4 out of 5 at one point last year, and 2 of those wins were here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, he's better than these horses on his good race. Interestingly enough, Greg, the 4 is a clear-cut second choice over both the 5 and 12 looking at doubles. So I wonder if that late money comes in and the 4 ends up being the second choice. So that value, and I thought we might get with the 4, might disappear at the end. But I agree with you about the 11 Heritage Park. I think if Arrieta can break cleanly, get to the front, he's going to win this race.
And that was in the mud. He's never been really in 4 starts at his best on and off track. But, yeah, he is quick usually. But last start, he was not on that off-going.
What about the 12? Second time, gets a fast track. I don't love him, but I thought he wasn't impossible. You know, he was a little bit interesting, I thought, in here.
Yeah, his last couple dirt starts were very good. Another one, maybe put a line through that race in the mud last out. Or it was off a short layoff as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Not that fast, though. The 11 is just, the 11, if the 11 breaks cleanly, he could be gone, right?
It looks that way.
I mean, to me, the value in the race is betting against the 5. And the other thing is, when I talk about jockeys, well, the 11, you're going from one of the low percentage riders to maybe even the leading rider, one of the best riders at Oaklawn, Francisco Arrieta. With Chicken Hawk, yes, you're going to the likely Eclipse Award-winning rider, But you're going from Florent Geroux, who is a terrific rider. So it's not the same kind of upgrade. And for me, when I look at rider moves, I look to see if there's a change that may be a significant upgrade or downgrade in some cases. And I mean, is Joel a better rider than Florent? Yeah, but it's not. Florent's a very good rider. If he's riding the right horse, he's going to probably get the money, like most good riders.
And Chicken Hawk, you know, the 5, he has speed to use, but you just think the 11's
I think the
inherently
11's
quicker.
faster. Now, listen, Joel might be aggressive with him. I think it really depends. I mean, what are they going to do? Sometimes Joel is very, very good when he's aggressive. But I just don't know if he's faster.
Joel go over strategy with Brad Cox for the weekend?
Oh, yeah. Big day for them tomorrow. They got to be sending Knicks Go, right?
All out.
Got to go. If he loses that race, I don't think he's losing because they rated him. They learned their mistake in the Saudi Cup. He might lose. He's just not as good as the other horse.
Knicks Go. Life is good. Pegasus going to be fascinating. And Joel, he'll be aboard the likely horse of the year for his final start. We'll see what happens here on Chicken Hawk, the 5. Can he keep pace early with this 11? Heritage Park. Joel Asmussen teaming up with a 5-year-old son's at Jonesboro here. And Asmussen owns this horse as well. Vic Stauffer with the call. Kick off the pick 5 here in this 5th from Oaklawn.
Chicken Hawk. Heritage Park. Burton Joe. Last to load, James's Moonshine. They're at the post. They're off. Heritage Park wins the break from Chicken Hawk and Marvelous Thunder. Burton Joe is close up. Cat's Hitman, Stompin' Hot Rod, Destined to be a Star, and James's Moonshine are next. Then comes J.E.'s Hand-Me-Down and MaxBet, followed by Mr. Cougar, and CHJ stumbled badly at the start. Heritage Park clears off going into the far turn. He's a 2-length leader over Chicken Hawk in second. Burton Joe is third, Stomping Hot Rod a 3-wide fourth, and Marvelous Thunder at the rail in fifth and 4 from the front. Then it's a gap of 4 lengths back to J.E.'s Hand-Me-Down, followed by Destined to be a Star and James's Moonshine. They're about 9 from the front. MaxBet moves by James. 2 back to Cat's Hitman, then Mr. Cougar, and far back to CHJ, Heritage Park, and Chicken Hawk. 1-2 at the quarter pole. Heritage Park leads by 2. Chicken Hawk is second by 3.5 lengths now to Burton Joe, who splits horses for third. Final furlong, Heritage Park is still in front. Heritage Park nursed along by Arietta. He leads by 1.5 lengths, but here comes Chicken Hawk, and now Heritage Park is going to have to dig down. Heritage Park, Chicken Hawk alongside and getting closer with every stride. Heritage Park, Chicken Hawk trying to get him. Heritage Park reaches, Chicken Hawk attacks. Chicken Hawk! Chicken Hawk beat Heritage Park. Jay's Hand-Me-Down was third, close for fourth between Mr. Cougar and Burton Joe.
Different track, but another scenario where it looked like this horse was home free. And Joel Rosario, Chicken Hawk, they come and get Heritage Park and Francisco Arietta.
And they beat the rest of the field so convincingly that I don't think it was a case of the 11 not running his race. I think it was a question of the number 5, Chicken Hawk, running better than he's ever run before. And listen, I would have bet against him. I was not a fan of this horse. I thought he was overbet. I was wrong.
5-11-4. That's got to be an empty pit in your stomach feeling.
Joel is such a strong rider. I mean, I don't know. That horse, to me, that horse really ran today. And I don't see that race in his PPs, but he ran today.
Well, we saw the same thing here. Jose Gomez, the apprentice, American Rule of 7, looked home free. But keep your eyes on the 1, Supreme Aura. Eric Cancel starting to make his move.
Yeah, this is every horse player's nightmare, you know. You need a horse like the 7 for a giant score, for a pick 3, a pick 4, you know, a pick 6 or something, and you have that lead. And all of a sudden you see them start to tire in the field coming. And you just, as you say, get that empty feeling in your stomach. An excellent ride by Eric Cancel on Supreme Aura. Patient, save ground, got the money. Nice job.
2 today for Eric Cancel and Supreme Aura. 7th win of this 7-year-old's career, son of Candy Ride. George Weaver gets his first win of the meet. That's got to feel good. $12.60 for the victory. Pick 3, $883. with 7-2, 12-1, 5-1.
Yeah, I mean,
is that
how much did exactly pay?
$8.83 for $1.
Well, what do we got for the parlay here? We got about 6 times, about $160, $70. You got about $8.50. Pay twice the parlay, a little more. Whew. You know, there isn't really a correlation to win pools, and maybe these horses were bigger prices in those. I think it's safe to say we're looking at a carryover in the pick six. Smart guy that I am. Well, we also had a big price in the fourth, right? Yeah, we had a $27 horse in the fourth race. That was a cinch.
8th race. New York Breds, allowance optional claiming group. 6 furlongs coming up. And the current favorite, Bronx Bomber, Rudy Rodriguez. And a man who could not be stopped for a while. There's Rudy. He's going to have Trevor McCarthy aboard, who at one point won 11 of 16 mounts. He's on quite a roll, including a couple of 4-win afternoons. They'll team up next in the feature.
Eclipse champion Blame ranks among the nation's top sires at a fraction of the price. His recent top runners include Aga Khan stud Saidabad, a top performer overseas, stakes winners Mandate, Officiating, Love the Nest, Dancing Kiki, and Blame JD. With success on the track and success in the ring, this proven son of Arch is truly a gold value stallion. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on America's Day at the Races. As always, we are brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, check out americasbestracing.net today. A contentious field assembled for our feature here at Aqueduct. It is for the New York Breds at optional $45,000. As we do see a horse coming back off of a layoff, and which version on the dirt are we going to see from Scacciatore? A horse that ran very quick up at Saratoga in that off-the-turf event, going the 5.5 furlongs. And sometimes you do get those odd figures with those half furlong races. But then again, he came back and ran well enough on the turf, and then threw in a bit of a clunker on October 21st, and then we haven't seen him in 3 months. He didn't look great on October 21st. He looked a bit light. He didn't possess the same energy. He was very, very quiet and kind of sullen acting. And today, he looks better. He does. And he is a horse that I don't think is one that, you know, we just got a weird freak performance on the dirt. I think he is very capable on the dirt, because looking at him physically, he kind of has that versatile look to him where he can kind of handle whatever surface he's running over. So I like what I'm seeing from Scacciatore coming back here off the bit of a layoff. Moving on to number 4, South Africa. He's third off the bench. And last time out, it seems as though, at least in his last 2 efforts, granted, quick paces against tougher horses, he just hasn't been quite as quick, and he hasn't acted quite as sharp as he had going back to some of his earlier form of 2020 and early 2021. Still kind of quiet here, but what I can say, he just looks so much more comfortable behind, stronger behind, and I think he's just had to kind of gain that through racing. And last time it just seemed as though after not breaking that well, or not being quick enough to keep pace, he just didn't react well to being kicked with dirt. I'm wondering, back against New York Breds, little bit of a softer spot for him. Do they get aggressive with him, keep him out in the clear? I think that would be in his best interest. Then number 6, Bronx Bomber, against the track last time, sloppy surface, and then you know, there's just been excuses throughout Bronx Bomber's recent running lines, and having trouble 2 back, and then just tougher company in the Hudson on a sloppy racetrack again. Gets back to a fast track. This horse looks fantastic for Rudy, and Rudy has probably had him looking better than he ever has throughout his career. So I like what I'm seeing from Bronx Bomber here in the paddock once again. Let's hope for a cleaner trip this time around, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. 2-1. He's the favorite, Bronx Bomber, 6-year-old, trying to win for just the 5th time in his career and the 1st time in a long time.
He has clearly been facing some better horses. And I think it's pretty obvious that those sloppy seal tracks didn't work for him, though he did handle a muddy seal one at Saratoga running 2nd. The problem that I have is he's not winning anymore. He was 0 for 10 last year, and he used to be an extreme speed. They started rating him, and he's run well in his races, but he hasn't won. And he's had time after time when he's kind of hung. Yeah, he had some trouble 2 back, but that race totally collapsed, and it kind of fell in his wheelhouse. I think it was more important than the trouble. I thought he's run okay in some of these races. Judge and jury's pretty good who beat him 3 back. He's got some fast race going back, and I do think you can use the wet track's excuse. I just doesn't seem to win races since he's been rating. Not saying he can't win. Won't be shocked if he does. But I couldn't take him with confidence.
Are you shocked by what we're seeing on the board right now? How is True Gold the favorite at 2-1?
Don't get it. Now, there may very well be a big tip on this horse. Looking at doubles, if the doubles play out for the win pool, which often doesn't happen anymore, the 3 will be the favorite. And horses like the 1, the 4, and the 6 will be very similar prices. I don't get True Gold. I just didn't think he was good enough, Greg. Did you? What did you think?
Outside look, but no way did I see him at that price.
No, I think he's way overbet. But there may be a tip on this horse.
Here he is. At one point, he'd put together 3 in a row. That was at Finger Lakes last summer.
And his last race wasn't bad, but it was a race that was completely dominated on the front end. The speed held up, and I think that flattered him. And he's going to have to do better than beating horses like Bad Guy.
Running with scissors, he is 8-1, second off a short layoff.
I don't recommend doing it. Last year he was very good here, but he has not found that form this year.
Scacciatore, here he is, that big effort at Saratoga.
I believe this is the right surface for him. He was wide against a probable good rail last time out behind a better horse, and what do you think now?
Michelle Nevin, South Africa, 4-1.
Thought this horse had some trouble in the stretch and actually ran better than it looked last time and was a little bit sneaky.
Bronx Bomber, who we've been talking about for Rudy Rodriguez, Trevor McCarthy rides.
There's a lot of things to like about this horse, including Trevor McCarthy. I just worry about him not being the same horse without speed.
Gung Hai Fat Choi at 11-1. He's 1 for 17.
He should be 60-1 in this race, but the one thing he does have is speed, and he could at least be a factor in that respect.
So favoritism back where we expected it here to this guy right here. 5-year-old by Central Banker. And it just worked out. It was supposed to be on the grass. This race came off, and he produced the biggest effort he ever has in his career.
Well, I don't think anyone was going to argue that if he runs back to this effort, he's going to win. And you can say 5.5 furlong races, and something I've talked about for many years, and Maggie pointed out, 5.5 and 6.5 furlongs, particularly 6.5 furlongs. They don't run that many of those races. So sometimes those figures sort of stick out too fast, too slow. It's just a tricky situation. But he buried Market Alert, who not that much later came back and ran an 88 Beyer and winning at Belmont. So it's not like he beat a horrendous field, and he beat them like a drum.
8-5, the money is coming in. He hasn't raced since October 21st. But if he can run a B effort of what we just saw,
well,
he wins this race.
I also think a lot of people looked at him and they said, he's a turf horse. Why would I want him on the dirt? And his last race notwithstanding, where he was against the racetrack and in a very, very difficult spot, I don't think he is necessarily, he runs well on the turf. But that race at Saratoga, his first and only dirt start before the big win, that was a wicked pace that just completely evaporated except for him. And the horse who won, I believe, was a Bill Mott horse. He came from the clouds to win that race. So I think that he's a lot better in the dirt than he looks. They just ran him on the turf instead.
And he went back on turf after that win, surprisingly.
Yeah, I don't really understand why. Now, he's run well on the turf, so I'm not going to knock them, but I'm not sure this isn't the surface he should have been on all along.
Let's head back down to Maggie.
Taking a look at the rail runner, True Gold. Last time out, Trevor McCarthy trying to chase from the rail behind the eventual winner in Whistling Birds, albeit in that claiming 25 for the New York breds. A horse that, or last time too, Trevor lost his crop midway through the turn. He probably was never running down the winner, but maybe people are seeing that. I will say this horse does look really well turned out today. Good energy from him. I like when this horse is kind of bouncing and on his toes, but I couldn't get over the improvement I've seen. Now, third start off the bench for South Africa, Greg.
Thanks, Maggie. 7-2 on South Africa. There's the 6, Bronx Bomber stepping in. McCarthy Rodriguez team up again. But it's Scacciatore, the 8-5 favorite from post 3. Here's John Imbrial with the call.
All in line. And they're off. Scacciatore and South Africa. South Africa with the lead, Scacciatore. And on the inside, running with Scissors now moves up, running with Scissors up to challenge South Africa for the lead. And the two of them hook up here as they move up the back stretch. It's running with Scissors at the rail. South Africa on the outside. The front two have 2.5 lengths on Scacciatore in third. True Gold is down on the inside in fourth, and Gong Hai Fat Joy and Bronx Bomber is the trailer in sixth, and the quarter went in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Running with Scissors leads now by 1.5 lengths. South Africa is in second. Scacciatore is on the outside, next and third. Then True Gold down at the rail, and alongside is Gong Hai Fat Joy, 3 lengths. Back to Bronx Bomber as they hit the quarter pole. It is running with Scissors with the lead. Scacciatore next in second. South Africa is down at the rail and in third. Farther back, it's True Gold, followed by Bronx Bomber and Gong Hai Fat Joy running with Scissors. Here's Scacciatore on the outside. South Africa is down at the rail as they come on for the finish. It's running with Scissors. Scacciatore, late move here from Bronx Bomber. It is running with Scissors, holding on for the win. And another long shot winner here at Aqueduct today. Running with Scissors, 13-1.
Andre Worry running with Scissors for Jeffrey Engelhardt. The speed here does last in the feature.
You know, this was a race where being aggressive paid off. This is a horse whose form has been absolutely atrocious. He was very good last winter here, as we pointed out in the post-braid, and he's been very bad. Now, he just reversed it, and you have to give Andre Worry credit for being aggressive in here. He was a little bit against the track last time, but I don't think he had a super wide trip. He angled out wide. This is just a different horse today, and a different horse because they were aggressive, and you have to congratulate him. You know, Scacciatore was a little bit overconfident, but he had the whole stretch to get by, and he just couldn't overcome the disadvantage.
So horse with some big back class for the level as well. I mean, this horse was running in New York bred stakes races.
Oh, he was, I mean, on last year's form, he could have been favored in this race, or certainly one of the favorites. It's just his form has been atrocious. He's completely lost that form.
And in a race in which we just saw the pace setter with a commanding lead get beat. Big effort to hang on here and hold off Scacciatore and Dylan Davis. It looked like early on wanted out of that pace stool up front because the 4 was going early with this horse.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand, and he ended up backing into what seemed like a very good trip, but he wasn't able to overcome it. Now, maybe he was just unlucky that running with Scissors ran today. I don't know that he ran a bad race, Scacciatore. The 2 just ran. He found that form from last year. I just don't know where it came from, other than off his recent form.
13-1 here, 2, 3, 6, 4 in the feature. Nightcap still to come. Andre Worry, Jeffrey Engelhardt. Team up with a 6-year-old by Congaree, who gets the 10th win of his career at a big number. We'll be back with prices right after this.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
This is the horse.
Is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the second champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse. Just imagine.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Nightcap still to come in New York. We still have the feature ahead at Oaklawn. In the feature here at the Big A, Running with Scissors, showing some finishing power to get the 10th win of his career.
Yeah, I mean, he turned back into the horse he was last winter. He was happy to be back in Aqueduct, but I also give Andre Worry and his trainer Jeffrey Engelhardt a lot of credit for being super aggressive with him, and it paid off. Aggression works. Not all the time, but overall, it's the right move.
Doesn't get a ton of opportunities, that young man. Made the most of it here on a horse who was taking a big drop in class. And it pays off. $29.20 for the win. Pick 3 over $1,100 here. With 1 leg remaining, and we have several scenarios where there's carryovers in the pick 5 coming up. Exultress began it. We've had no favorites in this sequence win. And with 1 leg remaining, the 3, the 4, the 7, the 8, the 9, and 11 all result in a pick 5 carryover.
I mean, I picked the 11, so obviously I feel there's a chance. I think the 3 is a reasonably live long shot. I thought you mentioned that you thought the 9 was not impossible in this race, so...
Looking at odds for the 6th here at Oaklawn. Kicks off the late pick 4. Mile and a 16th here. 10,000 starter allowance. Here's Jazzy Lady.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me switch over. Excuse me.
Giovanni Franco. Tom Van Berg second off the claim.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any speed in here. I thought that would hurt her chances.
Lee Rowe, been very popular in the claim box.
Yeah, coming off a claim for a trainer who overall has solid record off the claim on the dirt. A positive ROI with 46 starters.
Texas Rain at 5-2, John Ortiz.
Yeah, seems like a dangerous horse. One of the 2 speeds in here, along with the 5.
Absolute Love, even money for Joe Sharp.
Yeah, I thought this horse was the speed outside of the 4 and the horse to beat.
That is a short number. Horse who beat her last time out, winning the Pippin next, did not run that well against Coach. Bid for Power, 14-1.
This horse is very tough to make. Doesn't look good enough to me.
And 15-1 outside. Take Charge Gals and Racing's January of 2021.
Ibid looks to be overmatched in this race as well. Listen, I agree with the public here and thought the 5 and 4 were the main 2 players. to me, this race was fairly cut and dry, at least on paper.
So a very short number on Absolute Love. Francisco Arrieta having a terrific meet. He'll be aboard. We're going to have more on him and his story later in the program. This 7-year-old mare put together back-to-back wins at Churchill late last year.
Yeah. Last time out, obviously, things didn't work out in his last start, but he wasn't able to be forward. And he's a horse that's much better and he's forward. And now he's in a race that just doesn't seem to have an abundance of speed. And I thought he would probably stalk Texas Rain and he'd just get a more comfortable trip than last time out where he got a little bit lost. But you could say, well, it was the 2 turns, but he did run very well to win at Saratoga at 1 1/8 around 2 turns.
So that was the second of back-to-back wins. Tyler Gaffalione was aboard for both of those. It'll be again at Francisco Arrieta aboard her this afternoon as we take a look at this 7-year-old mare trying to win for the 12th time in her career. Next story, you got Texas Rain, as you mentioned, who wants to be forward.
And I think she is dangerous, you know. I mean, she ran against better horses. The horse who beat her last time, the Mary Rose, a very interesting Arkansas bred, who is the second, probably the second choice in Sunday's Houston Ladies Classic. If she runs back to the race that she ran that day, she's going to win that race on Sunday. It's a lot better than any race she ran before, but she really ran. And this horse got engaged with the pace, and the pace seemed to come apart a little bit.
She got a Mary Rose 95 Beyer in that win. She won by 7+ lengths at Oaklawn, and that is a race that's coming up on Sunday, grade 3 at Sam Houston, which will be seen on this program, right?
Will be seen, yes. We're very excited. My good friend Nick Tamaro is now the track announcer at Sam Houston. He will be calling the race.
Look forward to it.
We're all about Sam Houston. We've got their ex-announcer, Chris Griffin, who's been our backup announcer. He's done a great job here. Of course, he's the current announcer at Parks. And looking forward to that. Some fun races. There's a bunch of stakes. There's a nice 3-year-old turf race right before the Ladies Classic. And after is that 1.5 miles, the John B. Connolly, which is loaded with a lot of Mike Maker horses.
Indeed. Purse of $200,000 in that race. So that's coming up on Sunday. 7-5 favorite Public leaning on Absolute Love, who she just tried a lot tougher company last time out. We mentioned the winner of that race would come back and try the Pippin. Did not work out, but back to a more realistic spot here, and she looks like she is going to be tough. She's actually won 4 of her last 6 starts.
Yeah, I mean, you have to when you look at this horse, right, 11 for 48.
5, yeah.
She's won 9 of 22 starts in the last 2 years of racing. And the thing you have to when you look at that, she's got 9 wins in those 22 starts with just 2 seconds and 3/3. So she's a horse that shows up and she wins. And you have to like that in a horse. You feel more comfortable in those situations.
Meanwhile, Jazzy Lady on the rail, the one here at 5-2. Her only dirt start of her career. She won. It came 2 starts back at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, no, she did. And then she went to synthetic. And she's a horse I don't really know what to do with, Greg, right? The problem is I don't think that horse is good enough to win here. And that was a $10,000 claimer. She was claimed from Mike Maker. But it's very odd, right? It's her only career dirt start. And she ran so well. She ran so well, they immediately went to synthetic with her. But they did smarten up and realize maybe we need to send her to Oaklawn Park where she can run on dirt. But even if she runs back to that race, do you think she's good enough to win here?
She would need to improve. But if first try on dirt, can't she move forward? I mean, she's 5 years old now.
No, listen, I agree. Now, I don't think she should be the same price as the 4. Because the other thing about Texas Rain is she's supposed to be forward in here. But I'm not going to be shocked when she runs reasonably well.
Is that something you look at, though? I mean, at 5, and she's had all these starts. First time, is there expected improvement? Second time on a surface?
No, I don't think she would improve, per se. I mean, she could, but expected, no. I mean, what she did was she ran a relatively similar effort from a speed figure standpoint to her good races on the turf. Now, I'm not really sure you could, would you say they made a mistake not running her on the dirt earlier? I don't know. She ran a 69 Beyer.
Yeah.
But it's a fun, interesting discussion because we run a lot of turf racing, especially in New York with 2 courses at each track. And a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, there are no dirt horses anymore. I think it's a chicken or the egg. I think there's no dirt horses because we don't give many opportunities. We run so many turf races that people run dirt horses on the turf now. When we used to run 7 dirt races and 2 turf races, there were plenty of dirt horses because there was no chance to run the turf or limited chances. We've sort of turned it into no dirt horses.
Well, can she back it up again? A much tougher group to try and make it 2 for 2 in the dirt. Jazzy Lady, the 1. Big favorite, the 5. Absolute Love. Here's Vic Stauffer.
Texas Rain broke well, and so did Absolute Love. These two with Bid for Power to the outside, and the top 3 are going very quickly. Lee Rowe is next, then Take Charge Gal, and the early trailer is Jazzy Lady. Texas Rain, a short lead from Absolute Power in second. Texas Rain, 3/4 of a length. Less than that now. Absolute Love, and Texas Rain is way in the center of the racetrack. Maybe race riding the 2 outside of her just a bit to the backside. Bid for Power is a 3 wide third. Actually, she's more about 5 or 6 wide because Texas Rain is in the 3 path. 3 lengths further back to Take Charge Gal, and then another 2.5 back to Jazzy Lady, and Lee Rowe up the backstretch with Texas Rain the leader. It is Texas Rain, a half length in front of Absolute Love in second. Bid for Power will be 3 deep in third. Meanwhile, at the rail, Take Charge Gal moves up, and now she's a joint third and 2.5 from the front. Jazzy Lady is 4 off the lead, and Lee Rowe is the trailer, and they go into the far turn with Texas Rain still way in the center of the racetrack and still a half length in front of Absolute Love in second. Now comes Take Charge Gal dropping back, so that move puts Jazzy Lady up into third. Bid for Power is next. 3 back to Lee Rowe. Top of the stretch, Texas Rain and Absolute Love still 1-2. Texas Rain leads by a length. Absolute Love pretty much all in. Here's Jazzy Lady moving through. And Jazzy Lady is going to try to ride the rail and squeeze through a tough spot. Now Texas Rain is going to have to try to get closer to the rail. Meanwhile, Texas Rain and Jazzy Lady are 1-2, and Jazzy Lady says, oh, no, you don't, and goes right on by. Jazzy Lady now a length in front. Texas Rain and Absolute Love. It is Jazzy Lady and Texas Rain. Jazzy Lady. Yes. Jazzy Lady win by 2. Texas Rain second. Absolute Love third. And Bid for Power finish 4th.
Long way back to third to the favorite in here. Jazzy Lady. I guess she is a dirt horse.
Yeah, I mean, a funny race, right? I mean, she was almost losing contact with the field in the early going of the race. But Franco got her into the race midway through it as they slowed things down. And, boy, he gave her an excellent ride after that. I like what I've seen from him as a rider. And Jazzy Lady, yeah, I mean, I have to wonder if the connections are thinking back. Why did they run her so readily on the turf? I mean, the dams belong to me. The dam sires belong to me. He was a Danzig, so he, even though a dirt horse, had a real turf influence. And Cairo Prince, who was a good dirt horse, has proven to be a much more effective turf sire, which is probably why they did it without my looking up the dam. But as it's turned out, she's proficient on the dirt. And not at the highest of levels, but I mean, they claimed her for $10,000, and they just won $15,000 in purse money. So they're already out, and they have this filly, or mare.
I think, what, 5-2 in the end?
Don't know. We don't usually get the odds changes. I'm going to guess that she drifted at the end a little bit. The 5 was bad, by the way. All Absolute Love, right? She was empty around the turn.
5-2.
Yeah, I don't trust the
No?
yeah, sometimes the odds, yeah.
George Weaver broke through at the meet. Supreme Aura back in the 7th with a win. Can he pick up another one here in the nightcap? He'll try and do that with Empire Station and Manny Franco.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple Grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal bred.
Welcome to McMahon Thoroughbreds. I'm Joe McMahon. This is my wife, Ann. We're the proprietors of the McMahon Thoroughbred Farm. We've been here for 50 years. This farm here was 88 acres back then. It's now over 800 acres.
McMahon Thoroughbreds is the birthplace of Funnyside, the winner of the 2003 Kentucky Derby and Preakness.
This area has become popular for horse farms because of its proximity to Saratoga Racetrack and the sales, to the extent that now we have 4 major horse farms right within a few miles of here. There's Mill Creek Farm, there's Rick Burke's Irish Hill Farm, there's Quest Royal North, as well as McMahon Thoroughbreds. Probably more importantly than those large farms, there's lots of mom and pop farms with 1 or 2 mares in the backyard. The area has really come into its own in the last 20 years.
I measure success by the quality of the New York breds that are now raised in New York State. With this fantastic breeding program, out-of-staters have been lured into the state, bringing better stock, better stallions.
Currently, we have a horse here called Central Banker. He's pretty successful. He's very popular.
We're getting a much better product to race in New York.
For more information on the New York Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund, go to nybreds.com. Got a New York bred finale coming up on this Friday card here in New York. Maiden claiming event, 6 furlong sprint. With more, let's head downstairs to Maggie.
I'm actually going to start with a bit of a long shot here, Greg, as George Weaver and his crew are looking to go 3 for 3 this week here at Aqueduct with number 8, Empire Station, a horse that, in my opinion, didn't want anything to do with going longer. Granted, his 2 sprint races before that weren't great either, but now he drops to the 25, and he just looks so much more like a sprinting type. So now he has that foundation built in, going longer, and I think that this distance just is much more suited to him and really has gained that conditioning and that fitness. So one that I think is very, very appealing getting back to this type of distance. As number 10, Dancing with Rico, he will go turf to dirt and drop out of a maiden special weight, getting Lasix for this 3-year-old bow for Phil Serpy. War Dancers I do prefer on the turf, but he's been known to get one to be okay on the main track. And the Dam was a decent dirt sprinter, and this one is half to Customer Experience, who's all dirt, whom we just saw win here last week with a 93 buyer. In doing so, going a mile. Yes, I do think this guy may want to go farther than this. Didn't show much speed in that turf sprint, but I think he is one that just looks as though he's more suited to covering just a bit more ground. Very laid back, kind of tall, has that rangy type of appearance to him. He looks fantastic here. I mean, relative to his competition, he does not look as though he belongs in a maiden 25. So at least he has that going for him. As number 11 is Koosman, another drop down whom we haven't seen since October, but one that certainly needed the attitude adjustment. And the biggest attitude adjustment for a colt is to become a gelding, and it has done just that. He was one that was acting up really badly in both of his starts at Belmont and Saratoga. And today, cool as a cucumber, has not done one thing wrong thus far. Don't want to jinx him, but he does add a shortcut blinker, comes in here looking fit, gets that drop in class. I think he makes sense with the kind of makeover here, Greg.
Yeah, getting a lot of changes. Blinkers, new gelding, Lasix, drop in class, the full shebang.
He does. The problem is he's 4-1. And it's, you know, I picked him as a bit of a wise guy to play. He's also breaking from the far outside post. And even if you think the track has got a little bit fairer, it's still a tough post to overcome. It's actually the 12 post because there's 12 horses in the race. I'd like a bigger price on this horse. I'd like to 8-1 on him. But I also think the 2 is massively overbet at 8-5, especially if you feel like the racetrack has gotten fairer. I don't think this horse is supposed to be this short a price.
But he is supposed to be in the lead, right?
Well.
Or you think there's company?
Well, I mean, the 3 is quick. I don't think the 6 is slow. Jackie Davis is often aggressive. So could he be the speed because he has the rail? He could. But I think you have 2 horses that have the speed to run with him early, and I think it projects to be at least an honest pace for these horses. And yeah, he's dropping. But I think his last race was really that good. I mean, no Miracle Dicky came back to win, but he'd be a bad field with a very biasated victory. I think he's okay. but I wouldn't take 8-5 on anyone here. The only horse covered in the pick 6, which is paying $31,000 for $1. The parlay on the last 5 winners for $1 is $105,861. Greg, I think that's bad value. I mean, there's an argument that you shouldn't even put in tickets, that the parlay is substantially higher and you're better off betting in other pools.
Mm-hmm.
It's a limited pool. You know, what can you win? And you've got a series of long shots. And I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people, but shouldn't you get more than $31,000 if you get that pick 6 sequence together? I mean, the payoffs were 36, 9, 27, 12, and 29. I mean, there could be 150,000 in the pool and it wouldn't be hit.
Yeah.
Easily.
Meanwhile, pick 5, as we talked about, several horses that it's not even going to get hit. It's going to carry over. So that carries over again to the late pick 5 on Sunday?
Yes. The next day we race, which we hope is Sunday. It won't be tomorrow as we canceled. But it goes the early pick 5, goes to the early pick 5, the late goes to the late pick 5 in New York. And be interesting. I thought Sunday's card was pretty interesting. Very possible, Greg.
Post parade coming up. We will see the entry first. It's post 6 for this horse, the 1, Looking to Heaven.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Looking to Heaven, who just didn't do any running in the 1 dirt race.
Stablemate's a first-timer that will break 3rd to the outside.
Yeah, it's really more of a turf pedigree, and this is the first foal, and the second dam was unraced.
Even money on a horse dropping to the lowest level he's been at yet here.
I don't see it. I agree he's the horse to beat, but I think this is ridiculously low.
Mango Beach next door for David Duggan.
Second-time star, took some money first time out, and showed speed before getting almost ease and gets Lasix. Maybe this horse bled first time.
Why'd everyone give up on this horse?
Yeah, I think this horse is a crazy overlay.
First-timer, my inspiration, Orlando Noda.
Yeah, we'll see. Did have a first-time starter win last week?
Lord Brownie, 24-1 blinkers off. Lasix.
Gary Siaka, 0 for 26 over the last 5 years. Maiden special weight to maiden claimer. Could be 0 for 27.
My Last Mission, Jackie Davis, Juan Vasquez.
I think this horse is a very dangerous player, and here dropping down to a maiden claim race the first time. Big overlay.
Vibe Setter, Heeman Harkey. Blinkers come off. Horse who could be forward.
Yeah, but he's not fat. He doesn't. You know, he has nothing to recommend that I could see, at least, cutting back a distance.
George Weaver looking again for his second win on the card.
First race was his best race. The problem is he has not backed it up.
Wakasity, he's run some decent races against straight maidens at Finger Lakes.
He has. We'll see if he can, run back or improve on that form in New York. Doesn't happen a lot. At NYRA, I should say.
Dancing with Rico, second-time starter who drops in class. It's out there somewhere.
It's a turf pedigree award dancer, but this horse is a half to Customer Experience, who is in raging form right now and is a dirt horse.
Still looking at Wakasity here for Chris Engelhart. Here's the 11. We'll try and find that 10 in a moment. Kuzman, the one making all these changes.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job considering we're overcoming our director, Mitch Levitas, who's searching hard for the 10. Kuzman, I thought Kuzman was interesting. If he drifts up a little bit, I'll probably bet him. Trevor McCarthy, getting that Trevor McCarthy money. There he is. Mitch found him.
Yeah, Mitch delivers.
Hey,
we never doubted.
He always does.
Second time out, Lasix with Jose Lezcano, 9-1. I want to go back to what you were talking about, Silver Samurai, speed, dropping the lowest level he's ever run at. What much more upside to the 3, who is dropping from the same level Silver Samurai is. Start number 2, took money. He'll get Lasix as well. How's he 24-1?
I don't get it at all.
Meanwhile, here's Silver Samurai. This was December 10th, last time out. Was in front early. Weakens late to back up to 3rd. He will get Lasix. Maybe he bled in this race. Go get it for the first time.
I'm using him. I'm going to fool around in this race. I'm going to use the 3, the 6, the 11, a little 10.
Quickly, let's go down to Maggie.
Talking about number 3 in here, that is Mango Beach. Really heavy first time out. Just did not look fit. Ran like a horse who needed a race. Got what he needed, I think, out of that first effort for the maiden 40. I think we will see an improved effort. He was sharp, too, as well, getting onto the track. So I think we'll see that forward placement that we saw first time out, too. But I liked what I saw from Kuzman here, Greg.
Thank you, Maggie. Kuzmin, the 11, outside post. Can he overcome it? He's 5-1. He's got the hot hand. Trevor McCarthy for trainer Timothy Hills, the dropping class. And again, all those changes we mentioned. New blinkers, gelding, and gets Lasix. Will we have a carryover in the pick 5? About to find out here. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
Waiting now on the final horse, number 11, Kuzmin. And they're all in the gate. And they're off. Steadying after the start with Cassidy and Dancing with Rico. They're at the back of the pack. Mango Beach is out for the early lead along with My Last Mission as Silver Samurai moves up at the rail. So 3 of them right together for the lead. Lord Brownie sits behind and is racing in 4th. Then is Looking to Heaven next in 5th. Martini Margarita in between horses in 6th. Kuzmin's on the outside next in 7th. 4 lengths back to Empire Station, who is racing in 8th position. And then farther back, it is Vibe Setter down towards the rail. Wakasity is in between horses. On the outside, it is Dancing with Rico. The quarter went in 22 and 4/5 seconds. At the back of the pack is My Inspiration. So it is Silver Samurai closest to the rail. And on the outside, it is My Last Mission. My Last Mission has taken the lead from Silver Samurai. My Last Mission in front. Silver Samurai is back running in 2nd. And then Lord Brownie on the outside. It is My Last Mission with the lead. Lord Brownie has moved into 2nd, and My Last Mission is going to take the last race on the Friday card. My Last Mission won by 3. Lord Brownie was 2nd, close for 3rd between Empire Station and the favorite, Silver Samurai.
Dropping class, Jackie Davis, Juan Vasquez, 7-1. You said this horse was dangerous, and he was.
This is just an absolute ridiculous price at 7-1 for a trainer. His horses are winning. Jackie Davis is a very good rider, just doesn't get a lot of opportunities. And the 2 was wildly overbet. Is just not a very good horse. My Last Mission was the one making that big drop along with the 11. Not surprised he won. Just can't believe he paid this price. I imagine David Aragona had him a much shorter price on the morning line as he should have. I just don't know how he paid this price, unfortunately. I played exactas, and none of my 3, 10, or 11 did any running besides him, so I got nothing.
Big drop in the win here at 7-1. This pick 5, I won't give it away, but it is.
You can say what it is. It's a probable. Only paid $39,000. So.
Yeah, just over that. We'll have the official number coming up in a minute. And meanwhile, the pick 6, we got a carryover.
We do.
5 of 6, paid over $3,400.
Yeah, $31,000 carryover into Sunday's card. But the pick 5, as you said, was hit. Like this horse, a crazy, crazy price.
Look who's the leading rider at the meet at Oaklawn. Ricardo Santana Jr. has won 9 of the last 10 riding titles. Looking to do it again and add to his margin coming up. We'll be back.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. And added a Grade 1 with turf credentials in the Maker's Mark Mile. A winner in Grade 1 placed at 2. Multiple graded stakes victor at 3 and Grade 1 winner again at 4. This son of Warfront has proven his class at every level. At Keeneland November, his first mares and foals sold up to $310,000. War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Need help in finalizing your picks for the next race? Check out the Trackmaster selections provided by Equibase on every U.S. thoroughbred and harness track on Naira Bets. Use these selections to get quick expert advice from professionals in the business. Check out the thumbs up graphic next to the pick and the wager pad and scroll down for more details on the horse. Trackmaster selections available on Naira Bets and the Naira Bets app.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. and the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part where you can bet all the action. Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com, download that Naira Bets app, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The finale in New York. My last mission. Jackie Davis for Juan Vasquez here, and you mentioned a pretty cool exacta here.
Yeah, 2 women running 1-2. Girl power, like that. Both good riders. And, you know, Jackie, I wish people had more confidence in Jackie and she got better mounts. I understand. You've got a lot of good riders in that room. I understand. But I hope that people realize that Jackie Davis is a very good rider who will deliver if she gets a chance. And you can't win races if you're riding horses that aren't that good. And I know, Jackie will only ride here in the winter. But I like her as a rider, and I really think that if she gets some more chances, she'll win some more races.
And we haven't seen a lot of Ailsa Morrison, who was on Lord Brownie, but what we have seen, she's been impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you see these 10-pound bug riders, and some of them look absolutely lost out there. Not the case with her, and you could see that with her right away. She gets good position. A lot of things to like about her as a rider as well.
How about this pick 5? Nearly 40,000, 39,245, the shortest price. Chad Brown with Exultris in the first leg of the sequence, and then just monster numbers the rest of the way.
Yeah, I wrote down the numbers somewhere, Greg. The parlay for 50 cents going into that race was around $2,900. It was about $2,875, so $2,900. So this horse paid $16, so 8 times about $24,000 for 50 cents. Even with this horse an overlay, it paid 50% more than the parlay.
Incredible. Back to Oaklawn. The 7th is a mile and a 16th. It's a $50,000 maiden claiming event. And 8-5 favorite down on the inside for Brad Cox. Cole Spur, who is 6-1 morning line. And the dam really more of a sprint pedigree.
Yeah. Whoever thought this horse was going to be 6-1 for Brad Cox and Joel Rosario dropping down for maiden special weights may want to reconsider making lines. I mean, come on.
Let's go to Gary Stevens for more.
Yeah, guys, I mean, on paper, they're the obvious ones, the 1 and the 9 in here. But looking at these horses walking onto the racetrack, I like the looks of the 6 horse. Caught my eye a little bit with the apprentice John Geraldo aboard. John Geraldo has been a finalist for Eclipse Award Apprentice of the Year. And I would likely think that he's the likely favorite at this point in time leading into it. But let's go back to the 6th race. And he was riding an even money shot on there. And he's very, very polished for a young rider. He finishes strong, places his horses in a good spot, and he's learning every day. You see him polishing his skills every day. I saw the look on his face when Joel Rosario came and nailed him in the final strides of that race, and he was walking back into the tunnel with Joel, asking him questions, and Joel was speaking with him. And that's the thing you do when you're an apprentice. You ask the best of the best their opinion on what they may have done wrong, and I can guarantee you that's what he was asking. But he had this look on his face. How did you do that? Well, my words to John Geraldo would be that Joel Rosario is the best rider in the country, in my opinion, with all the skills that he has, the year he's had, and he keeps improving as well. You got beat by one of the best in the game. Try and follow what Joel Rosario does, and you're going to be just fine. And don't worry about it, because he nailed plenty of people all year long that were at the top of their game as well. So he's learning with every race. I'm enjoying watching him. A lot of jockeys, apprentices, they go through a lull when they lose that 5-pound apprenticeship. They've got to reprove themselves, but he's got a lot of good business here at Oaklawn and throughout the United States. I don't think he's going to have any problem with the transition from apprentice to veteran rider, guys.
Gary brings up an interesting point, you know, with a rider like Joel Rosario, and there's a lot of good riders at Oaklawn, I don't mean this, but to get a rider like that at Oaklawn Park, if you're a young rider, to have an opportunity to talk to a rider like Joel Rosario, who is not only one of the best riders in the game, he's also one of the nicest people in horse racing. You know, to get a chance to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit, I mean, that's an invaluable opportunity. And I'm just amazed that Gary can remember back to being an apprentice. I can't remember that far back. Actually, I remember that far back. It's yesterday I have a problem with it this point.
You watched a lot of races Gary rode in.
Gary's, yeah.
What did you think he did best?
I mean, Gary was an aggressive rider, so he rode well in the front, but you think about his ride on Victory Gallop in the Belmont Stakes where he came from way back. I think what Gary did best was ride. I mean, I don't say this because we worked together on the show. To me, Gary Stevens was always my favorite rider. I think I loved Gary as a rider. I mean, he didn't ride in New York that often, but I just thought he was just a true, I don't think he was, I know he was. To me, Gary Stevens is one of the best riders of my lifetime, a great, great rider.
Universally, I think that would be agreed upon. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Not a unique opinion, right?
Well, John Geraldo, who he's talking about, the 5-pound apprentice. Now, he is on the 6, Group 18, riding for Brian Williamson. But Joel, you're likely Eclipse Award winner on the rail for Brad Cox with Cole Spur. Can this one handle the stretch out here in start number 2? Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Now Jackie's back and Mesmerized. They're at the post. They're off. Euler broke well, and so did Cole Spur. La Flecha's close up, Winterwood, and a 5-wide Mesmerized. Then comes Declare the Moon and Vigano, followed by Group 18 and Prince Dare, and at the back of the pack is Jackie's Back. To the backstretch they run, and Cole Spur will clear off now. Cole Spur and Joel Rosario a 2-length lead over Euler in second. Winterwood well placed in third and 2.5 off the lead, then 1.5 lengths further back to Mesmerized and Declare the Moon. Group 18 is tugging up at the rail in 6th now, but could get into 4th in the red blinkers. 2.5 lengths further back to La Flecha, Prince Dare, Vigano, and Jackie's Back as they run up the backstretch with Cole Spur in charge. It is Cole Spur, 1.5 lengths in front of Euler in second. Declare the Moon is third at the rail and 2.5 from the front to the outside in Winterwood. Also right there and 2.5 off the lead. Group 18 is 5th now with 3 lengths to make up. Mesmerized and Prince Dare are 5 from the front. Then Vigano, Jackie's Back. And now the trailer is La Flecha and the leader is still Cole Spur. Cole Spur midway around the far turn. Euler and a closer Winterwood 3 wide. Group 18 emerges and comes through from the inside. Less than 2 from the front. Declare the Moon. Many chances. Winterwood is running up 3 deep outside of Cole Spur. Here's Winterwood in the center. Cole Spur, Group 18 rides the rail, and Winterwood makes the move to the front. It is Winterwood now 1.5 lengths in front of Group 18 in second. Then Cole Spur and Euler. Winterwood getting clear now, a 16th out, and Winterwood has a 3-length advantage on Group 18, Cole Spur and Euler. It is Winterwood clear to the wire to win. Winterwood won by 4. Group 18 was second. Cole Spur third. Euler finished 4th.
First time stretching out beyond a sprint, and Winterwood responds, also a drop in class.
He was faster than these horses based on his figures, and he showed it on the racetrack. He was just the best horse today, and he got it done.
David Cabrera teaming up with the Brissett Barn for SF Racing, Starlight Racing Stable, Son of McLean's Music. Winning here in start number 4, and that was a convincing victory. Group 18, Geraldo there, winding up second to complete the exacta at 11:01. 9-5 favorite. Takes the 7th here at Oaklawn. We'll have these prices for you when we come back. When we return, I'm going to have a new analyst with me saying goodbye to Andy Serling for the rest of the afternoon. Maggie Wolfdale going to join me after a short timeout. So we'll see you.
I won't see you until next Friday.
Yeah, I'm off on the weekend.
But I enjoy your days off, and happy birthday to your son.
Thank you. Turns 1 tomorrow, so that's why I'm going to be gone. But I'll be watching.
All right.
at least a little bit.
I'll see you on Friday.
Look forward to it. All right, Maggie Wolfadale up here on the desk with me when we come back. And among the other things we'll talk about, Dash Attack, Smarty Jones winner, back for more in the Southwest, which you'll see on our program tomorrow on the Triple Crown Trail. We'll have a preview right after this. Stay with us.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
During Leo McLaughlin's 22-year run as mayor of Hot Springs, starting in 1926, the city became a haven for notorious criminals and gangsters, most notably Al Capone.
A lot of people aren't aware of the fact that in 1931, Las Vegas, Nevada had 5,000 people in it and no high-rise hotels. Everyone was there to build the Boulder Dam, which became the Hoover Dam. At the same time, in 1931, Hot Springs had 20,500 people in it, 22 high-rise hotels, and $100 million in gambling income. The only difference was here in Arkansas, it was illegal, but it was okay.
During the spring, tourists could find themselves rubbing elbows with gangsters and Major League Baseball players.
Everyone year-round could enjoy the hot mineral baths, hunting and fishing and gambling. But in the spring, it was the opening of the live thoroughbred race meet at Oaklawn Park. And man, was it a happening place.
Gambling, moonshine, and gangsters. How could you not love Hot Springs? What a history this racetrack has. We are back here on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Let's wrap up the 7th at Oaklawn. And it was, in the end, Winterwood looking impressive late here down the stretch. Son of McLean's Music handling the stretch out for the very first time in his career wonderfully, if that's a word. David Cabrera, Rudolph Brissett, SF Racing, Starlight Racing, and breaks his maiden here, going away. Impressive for the victory with the drop in class here. First time in for a tag with the victory. And Gary was talking about John Geraldo, that 5-pound apprentice, winding up second there in Group 18. They're at 11:01. 9-6-1 finish, that trifecta for $2, $206. And our feature still to come. Joining me on the program, she's already been on, but joining me on the desk, Good to see you, Maggie Wolfendale.
Good to see you too, Greg. Up close and personal, not just a voice in my head kind of thing.
It is rare when I actually get to see you outside of Saratoga when we cross paths, I should say, on the walkway.
Yeah, our offices are pretty close to each other. On
That's
the
the only time I
catwalk.
get to see you, though.
I know. We're always busy. Aqueducts and a maze of a place. But actually, I really enjoyed being outside today because it wasn't that cold.
Yeah.
It was nice little flurries and no wind.
It's amazing, even for me coming from the West Coast, when it's in the low 20s, even as long as there's no wind.
Right.
I prefer it.
I don't know if I prefer it over 75, but
it's new for me, so I'm still
it's a
enjoying
novelty.
it.
Yeah.
We're going to look ahead to the Triple Crown Trail picking back up this weekend, and we're going to see the return of the Smarty Jones winner back in action in the Grade 3 Southwest. That, of course, Dash Attack. He's going to have to deal with some tough company in here. It always gets tougher the further down the road you go. Newgrange for Bob Baffert. We'll try and make it 3 for 3, and John Velasquez, he will be aboard making the trip to Hot Springs. He, of course, is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the most recognizable riders in the entire sport and as good a person as you will ever come across. Johnny V, he has meant a lot to horse racing, especially here in the New York circuit, where he's been a friend, a mentor, and a leader in that jockey's room. But as Acacia Courtney explains, it is off his mounts where his impact may be the most lasting.
John Velasquez is in the Hall of Fame and has captured 2 editions of the Belmont Stakes. He has 2 Eclipse Awards as champion jockey, has earned more money than any of his colleagues, and has won 4 Kentucky Derbies. However, his legacy continues to grow, not for what he accomplishes on the track, but for his actions when off the track. The 50-year-old has been instrumental in the success of many aspiring jockeys, such as the Ortiz brothers and Javier Castellano. Honored as the 2009 George Wolfe Memorial winner by his peers, Velasquez never fails to lend a helping hand, words of wisdom, financial support, or a smile to anyone he encounters.
John Velasquez is a role model for our industry, horse racing. And it's not only himself. He always tries to share for somebody else.
He's the person we look up to when I was on the jockey school. But when I get here, I get to know him. He played a big role for my career. He teach me a lot on the track, but he teach me a lot off the track.
Everybody knows how good he is in the track, doing his job. He's a great jockey. He wins all kind of races. But besides of being a jockey, he's a great person.
Velasquez, who is second in Breeders' Cup victories with 18, also tirelessly promotes safety for jockeys. He has been the chairman of the Jockeys Guild since 2006 and has been on the board of directors for the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund since its inception that same year.
He's not only himself, he always look out for somebody else, safety first, and always looking for making progress, helping the industry, helping horse racing.
He's hard on me about the way I was riding, a little too aggressive. So he started telling me, try to don't do that because you're gonna lose more in the long way. So he tried to teach me good things. So thanks him.
I think he's going to have multiple legacies. One of them is going down as one of the greatest riders of all time, but also someone who gave a lot back to the game. And especially with the Jockeys Guild, contribute so much to his fellow riders.
The first jockey to win more than 2,000 races at Belmont Park, Velasquez continues to ride high. His impact on the industry, however, transcends his performance in the saddle and will do so for decades to come.
Well, it's a lot of sacrifices and a lot of discipline, to stay, year after year after year. First of all, you have to be healthy and be blessed, to be here, though, And also, I'm being blessed with the people that I work with and the people who give me opportunity to stay here, to still here. So I think that's all it takes.
Hall of Fame career, incredibly respected. As you take a look at the resume, I don't know if there's a better ambassador for the sport.
There isn't. Johnny ranks up there as one of my favorites of all time. Not only has he won my husband's 2 Grade 1s and other stakes races, but the first time I ever met John Velasquez, I was basically still just a kid down at Pimlico and Preakness Week, and they had this Jockey's Challenge, and he rode one of my dad's horses in a Jockey's Challenge race. And I went down, I'm like, oh, let me talk to Johnny V about my horse, and he couldn't have been nicer, just talking to me and down to earth. And I told him that I galloped the horse. He said, you galloped this horse? He said, this horse is really tough. And I was like, oh my gosh, Johnny thinks I'm a good rider. But he's just been such a good friend and a great ambassador, as we heard from that piece throughout his career.
He's like that with everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, and he always has time for people, and
Yep.
not to mention one of the great riders of all time. He's going to be aboard Newgrange for Bob Baffert in the Southwest on Saturday. You'll see it on America's Day at the Races. He's been aboard the first 2 victories. Newgrange comes in 2 for 2. It just looks, I mean, there's a few others with speed in here. I don't know if they have the kind of speed Newgrange has, although he got to go very slow in that sham win.
You said it. He got away with the proverbial murder here on the front end, but you see it so many times. How many riders defer to John Velasquez? Could it happen again at Oaklawn? I don't know. I think they're a bit more aggressive and a bit more gung-ho about getting to the lead, as you know, you have a horse in here such as Ben Diesel coming out of the Smarty Jones. He had to break from the 13 hole. Now he's drawn the rail with speed. So I don't think it's a walk in the park for Newgrange tomorrow.
You look what he did in his debut, though. I mean, he's got legit sprint speed.
Sure. Yes, he could be good. I just don't think he's going to get away with what he got away with in that sham. And he's fairly light on experience, but not light on talent. The waters just get so much deeper here.
Meanwhile, Kenny McPeak, he is just loaded with Triple Crown contenders this year. And yet another one, Gary Dash Attack, who looked very good on that off track in the Smarty Jones.
He did look very good on the off track. Both his first 2 races were on the off track. He's looked great in the mornings working on a fast race track as well. And what I saw in his second race is something I haven't seen too many horses in their second race be able to accomplish in a full field. Don't forget, he's getting experience that no other horse in this race has had to this point with only 2 races. That's traffic, breaking flat-footed, away from the gate, rushing up a little bit, but he does it kindly, taking dirt in his face, and then running into some trouble around the first turn, runs up into a very tight spot. So he gains a lot of experience in this race. Cruising down the backside, he was great. Coming into the stretch, at the 5/16 pole, he actually had to tap on the brakes a little bit to find somewhere to go on the outside. David Cohen gave him some encouragement, and on he went about his business. Don't forget, that day was a short stretch of a mile for the mile race, so the finish line was actually at the 16th pole. He made the lead easier and earlier than David Cohen thought he was going to make the lead. He went on powerfully, flicking his ears at the end of the race, but not pulling up and looking for more ground. So I love the education that he got. I look for him to step forward again tomorrow. How much improvement is still in Dash Attack, I don't know. I think there's plenty of improvement. He's already pretty good right now with just the 2 races, guys.
It's nice year to have a Munnings on the Triple Crown Trail. Jack Christopher, another Munnings who won the Champagne. Can this horse be as effective on a fast track as he was in that Smarty Jones?
Right, that's a big question he has to answer. And 2, I think people are going to view that victory in the Smarty Jones 2 ways. One is the way Gary said that he had to overcome so much because he is an inexperienced horse and he was able to do so. Others could view it that he ultimately kind of had a perfect trip. He got to save ground, he split horses, but on the flip side, yes, he responded favorably for such an inexperienced horse. I think there are a few coming out of that race that arguably had maybe tougher circumstances to overcome, such as the horse I was bringing up that draws the rail now in Ben Diesel.
Yeah, it's I mean, you say, oh, this horse has the rail, broke poorly, game over. Usually, he actually worked out a pretty good trip considering that. But look, he finished, and he showed up in that performance. As we take a look at the road to the Derby out in Hot Springs. So Dash Attack was your winner of that first leg. He'll try and back it up again in the Southwest. And then it's the Rebel and Arkansas Derby winners of both those 2 should be able to punch their ticket to that first Saturday in May.
And how many times have we seen the Arkansas Derby, granted not last year, but produce a Kentucky Derby winner? It seems to be a very good proving ground for horses moving on to the first Classic.
Triple Crown winner, too.
Exactly. American Pharoah. Yeah.
We will see. It's going to be fun. Again, you'll be able to see it on the program tomorrow. Waters get a little bit deeper for Dash Attack. And is this another Baffert that's for real? Newgrange with Johnny V aboard trying to stay perfect. Interesting field ahead. Features coming up next from Oaklawn. It is a mile and a 16th, 2 turns, and an outside post, second to the outside for the Millionaire. Warriors Charge. Florent Giroux, Brad Cox. 3-time winner on this surface. Can he do it again? Our feature coming up next right after a short break. Stay tuned.
The sun shines bright on Carraconti. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Carraconti, standing at Gainesway.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Florida Derby's always been a key stallion-making race. Constitution, Scat Daddy, Quality Road.
The 2017 Florida Derby to Always Dreaming.
I see a lot of similarities in Constitution and Always Dreaming. They're a little more angular, aerodynamic, and athletic than some of the other stallions by those sire lines. Always Dreaming offers that athleticism, and I think he can reproduce that into his babies, and you'll see some good 2-year-old performances from them.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. The feature next from Hot Springs Mile on the 16th, 2 turns. An allowance optional claiming field. We mentioned Warriors Charge with a couple of scratches in here. Won't be quite as bad, but he'll be out in post 9. He's the 3-2 favorite.
Yeah, that's a short price for several horses, as he's facing several horses that come out of stakes as well. So, yeah, he's a horse to beat, but I thought there were some other interesting options in here, and you have, 9 others to choose from, Greg.
Yeah, one of those, Shared Sense, who was just third to the horse who's going to be Horse of the Year next go. Horse is going to run against that horse in the Pegasus, Chess Chief. He makes a lot of sense from the inside.
Masses of sense. Now, I wasn't in love with his effort, but that race was more dominated towards the front end, as he was the beaten favorite, albeit, but it was his first start off of a bit of a break. And 2, it just seemed as though he got swung very wide going into the stretch, as he's on our screen now, and just kind of flattened. I mean, he went 8 wide turning for home, whereas the horse that, rallied for second behind him went up the rail.
Problem, though, Brad Cox, Joel Rosario, you get no value there. He's 2-1. Here's the 2, Mohomosa, Mike Maker.
Now, this is a horse that bled in his last start. So now he returns on Lasix after racing off of it for his last graded stakes 4 consecutive efforts.
Comes off a win on the track of Ledge for Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, Candy Tycoon did not come back to run well, who finished behind him.
Brian Williamson sends out Beaver Hat with John Geraldo.
It's the horse that shows up. He runs races at times that make him competitive.
Big effort last start for fact finding. This horse won for Robertino Diodoro with a 90 buyer.
He is the clear-cut speed. We'll see if he can last this time around, too. Big upset, 15-1 on a Diodoro horse last time.
Yeah, that's at this meet, that's shocking. Trident hit Ron Moquette.
I think he was harmed a little bit by the slow pace. He was kind of even, but on the flip side, the winner had the same trip as him. He does cut back a little bit in distance, which should help him.
Sonneman, he's stakes placed in his career for Steve Asmussen.
I like the fact they're adding blinkers. He's a horse that always runs better when he can be forward. We'll see if he can sit that stalking trip outside of fact finding.
30-1 next to on Cat Daddy.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look bad actually on the racetrack, to be fair. I don't know, he just seems a cut below the best in here.
Big resume for Warriors Charge. He's won over $1 million in his career.
Yeah, he brings a lot of well-regarded company lines. Lone Rock, Thomas Shelby, Mind Control, Art Collector. Was beaten by Mo Mosa way back when in May of 2021.
And tough outside post, but a horse who probably wants to be forward in here digital.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem like the most genuine type. And as you mentioned, I don't know how far he ultimately wants to go.
3 minutes to post in this feature coming up with more on Warriors Charge, the 9-5 favorite. Let's go back to Gary.
Yeah, the question is how Florenzo is going to ride Warriors Charge, and I think it's very simple. He can be very aggressive with the horse leaving the starting gate, and if you go to his race 2 back, he drew 6 of 6, and he didn't mind giving up ground around the first turn. Horse actually accelerated midway around the turn to pick up his spot. Fact finding is definitely going to be on the lead. I think he's going to find himself in a good situation around the first turn, probably lay in 3rd or 4th, give up a little bit of ground, and go from there. He's kind of a grinding type horse. He never looks like he's going to really quite get there. Fact finding, does he want a mile instead of a mile and a 16th, which he's getting today? Probably. But I think that Warriors Charge, he needs every step of this mile and a 16th race. But look for Flo to come away from there, hustling him into the first turn and maybe giving up a little bit of ground just so he can secure a forward position with him, guys.
All right, Gary, thanks. As you take a look at Joel on Shared Sense, in a way, is this race, if you try and look beyond Warriors Charge, are you making it too difficult? I mean, 3 starts back, he was 3rd behind 2 Grade 1 winners.
Yeah, I know. And 2, I don't think that last time he was necessarily comfortable over the Muddy Seal going. So he's back on a fast track today. He just, was kind of running with his head up in the air. He never really, got down into stride and leveled off. This is him running second by, by a nose to Thomas Shelby, who did dominate on the front end. The thing is with him, Craig, he was best when he could control. His best races came in 2020 and 2019 when he was a horse that possessed speed.
He's not that horse anymore.
He's not that horse anymore. Maybe he doesn't have to be that horse anymore to beat these because, like you said, he's just been facing better. But like you said, also, at a short price, I'd be willing to take a look at some others in here. I mean, isn't Mo Mosa somewhat dangerous because yes, he was bled, he was fanned off in his last start, but he's clearly a horse that needs Lasix, and his form started to decline when he had to come off of it. And you're not, for a horse that might bleed, you can't keep running back because the damage has been done. You have to give those lungs time to heal. So he has had that time to heal, hopefully. Then again, sometimes it gets in their head and they say, I don't want any part of this. So I think he's dangerous, though, because he is a horse that has run against fast horses, good horses, and beaten them in the past.
10-1 on him. You saw the one go by, Shared Sense, and look, there's no question this horse, he's a major player in the race, but he is getting a little bit overbet at that price.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what happens when you are dealing with 2 likely Eclipse Award winners, teaming up here with Brad Cox and Joel Rosario.
So the 8, Sonneman. I mean, this is a horse that also has pretty good running lines, too, as far as the company that he has kept. And he's a horse I've always thought needed blinkers. And he's finally getting them in start 20 of his career. And you could tell last time out, Ricardo Santana tried to get him forwardly placed, and he was just outrun, obviously, because fact finding is just that much quicker. He was never able to extricate himself from the rail. And he is a little bit of a fickle type of horse. And he just kind of flattened, to be fair. But I just think that putting the blinkers on, now I don't think he gets the lead, but at least outside of the speed at 13-1, he's one I'd be willing to play around with.
And meanwhile, the horse you saw winning that race, he wants to do it on the front end again. He was in front every step of the way in that one. Fact finding, Robertino Diodoro, David Cohen.
You're getting a huge price on him too. Not quite as big as you did last time, but at 8-1, yes, he's meeting better here. But does he have a tactical advantage? Yes.
We will find out. Yeah, back in the day, even a year ago, probably would not have, because that's when Warriors Charge was a horse who liked to be in front.
Right.
Not the case anymore. But you look at Warriors Charge and his most recent work, 5 furlong bullet drill. Was that maybe trying to put a little more speed into him?
Yes, you would have to think that. It's just kind of where has it gone? It very well could be. I mean, before that, he worked 47-4. These are fast workouts since that last race. So I totally agree with you that maybe they are trying to put some speed back into him. The problem is where he draws. He draws outside of fact finding, and that does not do him any favors. Florent Geroux, as Gary said, he's going to have to work out the right kind of trip, because he just seems like a horse that is reluctant to pass others.
Meanwhile, the favorite has become the Rosario Brad Cox runner on the rail, the one Shared Sense.
Okay,
Winner.
I don't think it was the deepest Tenacious field ever, and he was a soundly beaten favorite that day. Again, maybe his trip compromised him. I can't say that necessarily being well off the pace did, although he does feel like a horse that maybe his better efforts have come when he's forward. But I think maybe swinging wide in the stretch, and still much of the running is done in the stretch at the Fairgrounds, the longest stretch that we have as far as a current racetrack. So I don't know. I mean, it's the Brad Cox Derby here, basically.
As so many races are.
Yeah.
9-5 favorite. There's Joel in those blue silks of Godolphin.
How excited are you to see what plays out tomorrow with the Pegasus?
Did a radio interview this morning talking about it. I'm rooting for Knicks Go. Can't wait to see it play out, though. And I really think everyone thinks, oh, these two, if they do battle all the way step in step, him and Life is Good, that someone can pick up the pieces. I just think they're too good, and
I agree with you.
It might just be a show of shows they put on, and they battle every step of the way to the finish.
You know, yes, I think it's kind of written on the wall is how the pace scenario is going to play out. Knicks Go goes, and I think Life is Good is a horse that can rate and sit right off of him. It's just, and I've always thought that both of these horses, that they can go these classic types of distances. So I think it's going to be a true battle to the wire.
It is going to be fun coming up tomorrow at Pegasus. Joel on Shared Sense got a little more work to do here in Hot Springs before he heads to Hallandale Beach. Warriors Charge, Florent Geroux, post 11, stepping in. Warriors set for the feature. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Digital and a hard scent finding. These two very fast. Warriors Charge taken in hand, sits third. Then comes Trident Hit. Sonneman is between horses and a ledge is at the rail. Beaver Hat and Mimosa are next, and the early trailer is Shared Sense. Fact Finding wanted the lead, and he's got it to the backstretch. A length and a half in front of Warriors Charge in second. Sonneman sits third at the rail and 2.5 from the front. Then comes Digital, a 4-wide Cat Daddy. Beaver Hat between horses and Trident Hit at the rail, all about 6 from Fact Finding, who's pumped up now to the backstretch. Fact Finding is 4 lengths in front. Then comes Mimosa and a ledge, and 7 lengths last to Shared Sense as they run up the backstretch with Fact Finding to the half-mile marker in charge. It is Fact Finding rolling along. He is 6 or 7 lengths in front of Warriors Charge and Sonneman. 2.5 back to Beaver Hat. Trident Hit stays at the rail to the outside end Digital. Then comes Mimosa, a ledge, and Cat Daddy, and Shared Sense has been eased out of the race as they run around the far turn. Fact Finding now only leads by 2 as Warriors Charge comes after him with each and every stride. Fact Finding to the quarter pole, still in front. Warriors Charge with every chance to outfinish him in second. 3.5 back to Beaver Hat in third. Then Sonneman and Digital. We've got a new leader. It's Warriors Charge, and he's off the top of the turn with a 3-length lead. Fact Finding backs out. Sonneman is between horses. Then Beaver Hat and Trident Hit, but Warriors Charge is opening up, and the Millionaire Warriors Charge is now 5 5 lengths in front. Beaver Hat and Trident hit are second and third, but Warriors Charge is straight and strong. Warriors Charge won by 10. Beaver Hat was second. Trident hit third. Sonneman finished fourth.
Class prevails here. Warriors Charge did not get to the front. Able to sit off and win, stalking here under Florent Geroux.
And you said it. It hinted, his work tab at least, that he was getting back to maybe being in better form, and obviously just outclassing them here. Sat that stalking trip. We saw fact-finding maybe a little bit engaged by Digital early. He kind of went on and got a little headstrong with David Cohen, and proving that at the end of the day, class does matter, Greg.
Shows here, no question. The Millionaire does it again for Brad Cox, Florent Geroux, 10-strike racing, Mataket. A Munnings. 6th career win. Favorite, sorry, he did not go off favorite, correct? I think he went off second choice.
Shared Sense, unfortunately, we did see eased and pulled up down the backside.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Impressive, the Warriors Charge with the victory. First win for him. You have to go all the way back to August 2020 when he got put up via DQ the last time he got his picture taken.
That's crazy. Back at Monmouth in the Island. A horse that, I mean, just really began his career, albeit a little late in the game, just with the tour de force. And then, as you said, just kind of lost his way and just ran into probably better horses at the end of the day.
Warriors Charge the win. We'll have the prices when we come back, and we'll set up the finale when we return as well. Second full year at the meet riding for Francisco Arrieta. He has really been impressive, challenging for the top spot right there with Ricardo Santana Jr. We'll have his story right after this.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, he was the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring. Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2, our program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Feature in the books in Hot Springs, and Warriors Charge notches the 6th victory of his career, ending an 0-for-9 streak that dated back to August of 2020. Wins here in his 6-year-old campaign for Brad Cox under Florent Geroux.
Yeah, it's been almost a year and a half. since his last win. But what a way to get back in the winner's circle here, Greg. Just drawing off from, I would say, overmatched rivals, especially when your stablemate did not run too well. But really spread out field, and Beaver had it 47-1, picks up the pieces for second.
Wow. $158 exacta for $2 there. John Geraldo, who Gary was talking about, 5-pound apprentice there, winding up runner-up again at a big number. Feature in the books, and again goes to Warriors Charge. Nightcap still to come. Jockey Francisco Arrieta, he is living out his dream. He's among the leading riders at the Oaklawn meet in just his second full season in Hot Springs. But that dream early on may have seemed like a nightmare. Getting few opportunities and even fewer trips to get his picture taken, Arrieta had to be patient and have unwavering faith that his dream would one day be realized. Francisco Arrieta's childhood dream was to become a jockey.
Because my first time when I see a horse, man, I fell in love. What a beautiful feeling, you know.
Arrieta, a native of Venezuela, moved his tack to the United States in 2014.
When I started here, it was hard for me, you know, to get a chance. I don't speak any English and I don't know nobody. It was pretty hard. I have to gallop like for 2.5 years and ride a couple horses, you know, it was really hard.
He would need a strong belief in himself because this dream would require plenty of patience. Over a 3-year span from 2015 to 2017, Arrieta rode 210 races, winning just 3 times. Yes, 3 years, just 3 winners.
For sure, I work every day, you know, almost don't no day off, you know, working hard.
But patience, work ethic, and faith in God would lead Arrieta to finally break through as leading rider at smaller tracks off the beaten path.
I was in New York at the time. I started working for Robertino Dodoro, galloping, and I galloped for him like a year, and I asked him for ride horse, you know, and the opportunity didn't come in New York, so they moved to Arizona. So I asked him to give me the opportunity. So finally I moved with my family to Arizona and I started riding over there. And that was unbelievable after that.
It's going to be Senor Friday to win the Turf Paradise Derby.
He's one of the hardest workers. You know, he's a very good worker, got a good attitude. He's a good rider. He's a kid that started right from the bottom up, paid his dues, and it was just 3-4 years ago where he was galloping and picking up claimed horses for us at Saratoga during the summer to make extra money. So he's come a long way in a short period. Like I said, he's a kid that started right from the bottom. So got to give guys like him a lot of credit.
Then Arrieta came to Oaklawn for the first time in 2021, and he won 50 races, finishing 3rd in the jockey standings. On the year, Arrieta's mounts earned $5.5 million, compared to $62,000 just 4 years earlier.
I like Arkansas. You know, it's a nice place, nice people around here. I used to be happy to be here, you know, and it's not hard to ride in this racetrack, you know, it's easy.
He also recorded his first Oaklawn Stakes victory in The Bachelor aboard Jackson Traveler for Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen.
Well, I just remember that was a nice horse. He just break and go to the lead. That was an easy winner, you know, nice horse.
Jackson Traveler beat the gate and beats The Bachelor. Jackson Traveler in front.
For the boy who started riding in Venezuela at age 16, it's been a long, winding 16-year journey.
About 4 or 5 years I was, Mom, I want to be a rider. She said, no. I told her, let me be a rider. I want to be a champion, you know. Don't worry about it. It took me 10 years to win my first title, leading rider. 10 years, working hard, no day off, no vacation or nothing, you know. So, but here I am.
Here he is indeed, and really making a name for himself. Ramon Dominguez, actually one of the people that helped kind of convince him to come to Hot Springs, Gary, and boy, has that move paid off.
Well, it really has paid off, and you know, the feature says it all. Hard work, believing in yourself, praying, a whole lot of different things, and other people helping you out. First time I heard Francisco Arrieta's name was from my brother Scott, who was riding at Turf Paradise at the time, and they were actually adversaries. My brother wasn't a big fan of his at first because he said he didn't want to listen. He said he's a little bit dangerous. Well, guess what? He started listening to my brother. My brother's proud of him. He's a fan of his as well, keeps track of what he's doing every day. I see him out here every single morning. Telling you what, his work ethic has not backed off. If you go to look at every leading rider at every racetrack in the United States or North America, they're usually the hardest working guys with an agent that has an equal work ethic, and that's exactly what he's got. He continues to polish his skills. He was patient and waiting for his chance to get here, and he's patient in a race when he needs to be, and he's also aggressive when he needs to be, and he's got a great finish to him. So he's got all the tools to keep moving forward, forward, forward. I like watching him ride, guys.
It's a great story to hear his perseverance. I mean, he had to go through some lean times as a rider, but showing at this meet, I mean, he's holding his own, just 2 behind Ricardo Santana Jr. coming into today.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, he's a guy that I remember when he was galloping here in New York. Actually, I just caught up with Gary Siaka's assistant in the paddock before the last, and he was talking about how he still texts with Francisco that he galloped for the Siaka barn, and just as you said, perseverance really shows that it does pay off eventually, and as well as hard work. And he truly did. I mean, I would see him every morning, all morning long.
Started from the bottom, and now he's here, and he has arrived in Hot Springs. We're going to see him in the nightcap coming up. He'll be on the 3. My Dam's Attitude is one of the major players in this finale on the Friday card. We will be back. We'll also take a look ahead. The Ladies Classic this weekend. We'll have coverage from Sam Houston ahead. Preview of that race when we return. Stay with us.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green. At Belmont and Saratoga, New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Coming up this weekend, we'll have live coverage from Sam Houston, track we don't see a lot on this program. That's coming up Sunday on FS2, Grade 3, Houston Ladies Classic. Part of that coverage, $400,000 purse, fillies and mares 4 and up. And Pauline's Pearl. For Steve Asmussen, he'll have Joelle Rosario aboard. The last time we saw her back in 2021 as a 3-year-old, she ended things on a really good note.
Yeah, she did, with a career best performance in the Zia Park Oaks. Coming off a little bit of a freshening for this first start as a 4-year-old. I don't know how much she was eating this day, Greg. As she was a she wasn't favored. I'm thinking of a different Rasmussen horse that won that day. But yes, in this field, she has that tactical running style. Look, she's the horse to beat. Based on that last effort.
Best number she's ever run. Do you believe that number?
Right, that's the thing. At a track that we don't see much coverage from, don't see many figures from at Zia Park. If she gets back to some of her other races, then it makes her kind of on an even level playing field. But to be fair, you know, some of these horses are now 5-year-olds, and she was doing that as a 3-year-old.
So her 4-year-old debut coming up. She just ran the best race of her life. And then you had the Mary Rose on the outside. She just ran the best race of her life.
The Archie bred.
Yeah, on December 31st, the final chance for her is a 4-year-old, and she ran lights out.
She did. I think this might be a little bit of a tougher spot for her, but you have to give her credit. I mean, she's just been steadily progressing in her career, and she's actually one that I saw going back to last year at Oaklawn for one of the Arkansas bred stake races.
Okay.
Yeah,
Audrey's time in there as well. Neil Pessin, another one who's going to take a lot of money in that race. So that is coming up on Sunday coverage on FS2 from Sam Houston. That John B. Connolly. Yeah, I've been there. Gosh, it was a long time ago.
I had fun there the one time I went.
When they had it was the regions challenged against each other.
Oh,
you remember
neat.
that? It didn't last very long.
I don't think I do.
Trying to earn points against different parts of the country. It was fun though.
Yeah.
Try something different.
Absolutely.
Oaklawn's finale, we just told you about Francisco Arrieta, and he is going to be on the 3 here. My Dam's Attitude. We do have a late scratch in this race as well, the 11 Summer Shoes.
Of course, the one I liked.
Coming out of the race.
Yep. Had to be the one I liked. Anyway, but there are some interesting pedigrees for an Arkansas-bred maiden special weight. There's some interesting pedigrees with regards to the first-time starters, but My Dam's Attitude, as you were mentioning, her first start off the claim and off of the layoff was very good. I mean, she was shuffled back early, then she made this wide sustained move against a horse that, you know, had been up close to the pace early on. So I think My Dam's Attitude, if she runs back to that last race, makes her a major player here.
This will be her 11th opportunity to try and get a win. 6-1 right now.
Only her 5th against state breds, though.
So when you look at and there's quite a few in here with ups. There's some who've never raced, but in terms of upside who've lightly raced, I mean, how about the one Punchy Girl?
I thought she got a little punch drunk in the lane last time out, though. She did duel with the winner. She was the beaten favorite. She kind of went to swapping leads down the stretch and just kind of wandering all over the racetrack, just, you know, hinting at a tired horse. But she also kind of completely flipped her running style, in that maybe they learned that she isn't one that wants to go up and duel for the lead. So I wonder where they place her today with Luis Contreras aboard.
Quite a few first-time starters in this field as well.
How about the pedigree on the 6 in here at 20-1? The Dam, she was a European turf horse. This horse is half to Dr. Edgar, who's a multiple graded stakes winner on the turf, but also a half to Honey Bunny, who's a grade 3 winning dirt sprinter, trained by the guy who has a horse on the outside of John Ortiz.
So refresh my memory. Dr. Edgar, is he a horse who got DQ'd out of a win at Saratoga a couple of summers ago?
Oh my gosh, was that him? Yeah, I think so.
I believe it was. Cost me the pick 5.
Oh no.
Oh,
brutal.
Yes. So many good memories in this game.
Yes, that is right. You were right. Barkley Tag.
But no, very good horse.
Yes. And that's just a serious pedigree on this horse. I mean, yes, maybe lower profile connections, but I just thought that was interesting alone. And then the horse outside, John Ortiz, picks up Ricardo Santana, Gramercy Park. Double Irish is actually fire. I mean, it's a small sample, but with his 3-year-old and up first-time starters, he's hitting at 25%. The Dam was a multiple stakes winner going long on the dirt. This is her first full. I don't know. I thought there were some interesting pedigrees, and taking, 3-1 on the 8 here, Dancing in the Pulpit, who does step up in class here, Greg. Broke on top, showed good speed, didn't switch leads down the lane, and just was green. Maybe needed that start. Cantex did wire the field that day, the eventual winner.
A sign of confidence from the barn to step this filly up in class and start number 2. And that is not much money at all for very good connections. We told you Ricardo Santana Jr., leading rider at the meet, as he just about always is, 9 of the last 10 years. But John Ortiz, very good barn too. And that filly, the 7, first timer, 9-1.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this filly makes some noise, though Johnny not necessarily known to win with first-time starters. He kind of develops them into fitness, and maybe a guy who does a little bit better with the horses that he claims.
Post parade here coming up. We're approaching the 5-minute mark to post for this final race we're going to bring you this afternoon. We're going to begin here in a minute with Punchy Girl. Third opportunity for her. She actually was favored last time out at this condition. As you mentioned, you thought she was a little punch drunk in the lane. But look, she showed good early speed in that race, but now she's got to deal with the inside post.
But she ran well when kind of missing the break in her first start. So, yeah, Luis Contreras is going to have to figure out what's going to be best for her. Is he aggressive with her? Gets her out of the gate. Maybe she does secure a early lead in here. There isn't, I think Dancing in the Pulpit is the one that's going to be on the front end early. Maybe she just needed those first 2 starts.
Strange spot next door for the 2, who has done very little running against easier company, but it took a lot of money in both those races.
Yeah, and does get John Geraldo aboard, who has been riding very well.
Been off since March. Here she is. Maybe she's just grown up and progressed her time away as well. It's 27-01 here. My Dam's Attitude. This is the one with Francisco Arrieta aboard.
Yeah, all of her previous races before the claim would not make her a player here, but she ran very well off the claim. First time back, had trouble, wide move around the turn. So if she runs back to that effort, puts her right in the mix at 6-1.
She was a length and a quarter in front of this one here, Choctaw Charlie, last start.
I thought this one had a great trip and just did not have much to offer late as the beaten favorite.
Ron Moquette, he gets Joel Rosario on his first timer.
This is interesting, right? Dam won a dirt sprint. The others haven't won. It's not a precocious type of family.
Calvin Burrell on another first-timer.
This is the one with the interesting pedigree, half to Dr. Edgar and Honey Bunny, who is a very accomplished dirt sprinter.
Ricardo Santana Jr. on Gramercy Park for John Ortiz.
Dam multiple stakes winner, going long. This one acting maybe just a little bit green out on the racetrack.
Dancing in the Pulpit, second time out.
Yeah, Kelsey Hart gets the ride once again wired. She did break on top in that debut, so look for that early speed again.
Miss Rita took a little bit of money against an easier group in the mud first out.
I thought she had some trouble. She broke a touch slow. She was green from the kickback, had to wait for room at the halfway down the stretch, and then ran on a bit.
Mo Wanna Go went by, first-time starter, and there's Run Fearless, John Court.
Run Fearless has races on the go back that make her a player. Maybe she needed her last race and she can move up off of that, though that was for maiden 30 state breds, but did catch a muddy sealed track.
Maybe the 9 didn't go by. Maybe we skipped over the 9. There's Miss Rita.
Miss Rita, I don't know. Of the first-time starters, this is the one that had the least amount of pedigree.
All right, so 3 minutes to post in this final race that we're going to bring you, the nightcap here. From Oaklawn, there's Joel Rosario, 6-1. Let's check in with Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, let's talk about Joel Rosario and Buckle Bunny Red. First-time starter. So here he is riding a state bred, Arkansas bred, first-time starter. And he's riding Knicks Go tomorrow in the World Cup, Pegasus World Cup. Okay, 6-1 right now. Well, he's riding for a staple here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's Ron Moquette. His barn, I'm looking at it straight across the racetrack. It's about the 5.5 furlong pole. Half a furlong from that is his house. His backyard is literally looking at the racetrack. On a spring day, you can hear his dogs barking in the background. He can go out and watch a race from his backyard, but he doesn't. He comes over to the front side. He comes over to the front side to watch him train in the morning. So I thought it was interesting that Joel's sticking around. Joel did give this filly a really nice warm-up. Being a first-time starter, she left the pony. He galloped her out in front of the whole field, an extended gallop clear to Ron's backyard. He's turned around now, going towards the starting gate. But, yeah, 6-1 right now. I don't know how live we are with Joel riding for Ron Moquette. I would thought if she was super live, she'd be a shorter price right now. But 6-1, fair enough. She's a good-looking filly, and she looked good galloping, had great action. So maybe you can get lucky here. and take that luck with him to Hollandale, Florida tomorrow. Guys.
Gary, thanks. That's a rough commute for Ron Moquett.
Yeah, so much traffic.
It says a lot about Joel Rosario, though, right? You're riding in the race of the set that people have been talking about nonstop for I don't know how long. He'll be aboard the Horse of the Year, Knicks Go, in that showdown, and he stays around to ride the nightcap in a state-bred maiden race.
I mean, I don't know if you should make a lot of that or you shouldn't make a lot of that, because when these races are in the book, a lot of times you don't know where they're going to be on the card, to be fair. So I don't know what to make of it. And Ron Moquett, if he can get Joel Rosario, he's going to take Joel Rosario. I mean, this is Joel rode his best horse ever, Whitmore, several times. So maybe she's live. I don't know, but it's not like Ron has the greatest numbers first time out. He's definitely a guy that likes to get his horses to have experience and likes to develop them and likes them to learn and kind of gain fitness through racing. And maybe he also reached out to Joel because he is good. Joel is good about giving a horse an education and not exerting too much from them first time out.
So 6-1 here. We'll see. Yeah, not taking a ton of money with man who's going to win an Eclipse Award here coming out. I just wonder I don't know if we can get Gary back, but what's got to be on the mind of Joel leading into a matchup like that coming up tomorrow with a race that everyone thinks not just two monster horses, but tactically is just going to be such an intriguing matchup.
Yeah, and he knows that he has an aggressive Herrad Ortiz to his outside. But Joel knows his horse well. He knows what to do with him. He has frequently said he's a horse that obviously needs the front end, but just loves to run around turns, really, applies that centrifugal force to his speed. And Joel, I think what makes him great a lot of times is that he doesn't let things affect him. He is so laid back. He is thoughtful. Like if you sit him down one-on-one, he can tell you everything about a horse and all of the horse's last starts and everything like that. But I think what makes him good is that he doesn't let too much of the noise get into his head.
He's a cool customer.
He is.
Nothing gets him flustered. Of the inside post in that Pegasus in that matchup as Knicks Go takes on Life is Good tomorrow. But Joel got a little more work to do before he heads off to Hallandale Beach, as Gary mentioned. So he's on the 5 here, 5-1. The favorite, it's a great betting race. I mean, 7-2. Francisco Arrieta's filly is the favorite right now. She's the most experienced in the field. That's usually not a good thing in a maiden race.
No, you always are more attracted to horses that have less starts. There's just more upside with them. But I get why she is the favorite, like I said. And as far as horses that maybe, look, the 9's taking a little bit of play at 7-1. I thought she certainly had a bit of a trip. The horse that finished second that day, Sip, did come back to win, albeit a turf race, a maiden special weight at Sam Houston yesterday, I believe. So there's some upside with hers too, but, I'm not maybe as well versed as I could or should be with regards to Arkansas bred jumps from the maiden claimers to the maiden special weights. Here in New York, it's a huge difference. It's a huge jump. Maybe it's not so much there.
And, back to Punchy Girl and pace in here. The fact that she's drawn inside and she does have that speed, I mean, she's got to try and open up here, doesn't she?
Yeah. I really think Dancing in the Pulpit's going to be quick, too.
That's the 8.
Yeah, I think she gets pressure from her. Like I said, Dancing in the Pulpit broke on top last time, and I don't know if Kelsey, she kind of let a bunch of horses go in front of her, the eventual winner go in front of her. Is she going to let that happen again?
And Run Fearless with John Court at 12, not slow, maybe not be in front, but going to be right there.
Yep.
Finale on this Friday card coming up here from Oaklawn. And My Dam's Attitude, the 3, with Arrieta for Ron Westerman. The favorite, we're going to go to Vic Stauffer with the call to close out this card from Hot Springs.
Here's Buckle Bunny Red. Mo Wanna Go will be next. Stormy Sermon goes in. The last horse to load will be Run Fearless. They're at the post. They're off. Punchy Girl wins the break, goes for the front from One Fearless and Miss Rita second and third. Choctaw Charlie, Dancing in the Pulpit, and My Dam's Attitude are next. On the move between horses is Mo Wanna Go, and there goes Mo Wanna Go all the way up into third. Gramercy Park is next. Then comes Stormy Sermon, and the trailer is Buckle Bunny Red. Up the backstretch with Punchy Girl and Miss Rita 1-2. Punchy Girl a half length in front. Miss Rita is second by a length and a half. 2 Mo Wanna Go and Choctaw Charlie. Then it's a lineup of 3. Epworth at the rail, My Dam's Attitude, and to the outside in Gramercy Park. Dancing in the Pulpit is next. Buckle Bunny Red is out of last place, but she's still double digits behind, and the trailer is Stormy Sermon, and the leader is Punchy Girl. Punchy Girl at the quarter pole. Here's Epworth to move through into second, and Epworth is after the front-running Punchy Girl. Then Miss Rita in third, Choctaw Charlie, and they come to the final furlong. Punchy Girl has the lead. My Dam's Attitude is emerging with a nice run, and here's My Dam's Attitude down the center of the racetrack, trying to run down Punchy Girl, and she just might do it. Punchy Girl, My Dam's Attitude alongside and right on by. My Dam's Attitude, Punchy Girl, late run, Run Fearless. My Dam's Attitude in front. My Dam's Attitude won by 3. Punchy Girl was second. Run Fearless did get third from Choctaw Charlie in fourth.
Well, we just heard Francisco Arrieta's story, and he delivers on cue with a victory here in the nightcap. Punchy Girl again having some issues down the stretch.
And it's the best new angle in racing. When you have a feature on America's Day at the Races, you get a win.
It's incredible how much that works out. You do get the good mojo in your corner. My Dam's Attitude, 11th time the charm. Back on FS2 tomorrow for Eastern start time. Thanks for joining us in the 8th at Aqueduct, running with scissors. Holding on late, Andre Worry, Jeffrey Engelhardt at 13-1. How about Warriors Charge? Ending an 0-for-9 streak. Getting the win in the feature. Triple Crown Trail picks back up tomorrow. And you'll see it live on the program with the Southwest Dash Attack trying to make it 3 for 3. See you tomorrow.